thank you so much for sharing that. And I love the way you really brought that together to show that it's a progression. It's not just that the idea just comes to you, it's a development from all the other influences that you've had. Uh, and then also influences from your family. And
Yeah.
is that so going all the way back to when you were a kid and you liked comic strips and you liked comics, what was the first moment? Do you remember a moment when you were reading either a comic strip or a comic where you kind of, I call it like the shiver moment. It's like that,
Yeah.
like, whoa, something's going on here.
Well, I
Um,
would say, yeah, a couple of them. A couple that I can really point to. One, I don't know specifically when it happened, but it was definitely the first time I read Garfield. And I don't think it was in my paper from the jump. Boring history. I think Garfield started in like 78, 79, around there. And I think I first saw it a couple of years later after it was already getting pressed. My parents got me, I think I just read about it or whatnot, and they got me the second Garfield collection. I think it's Garfield at Large or something. I have it behind me. I think I have the actual one behind me somewhere. I'm not gonna find it for you, but um, I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and I would read it and just giggle and giggle and giggle, and it was really a lightning rod moment where like, yeah, this is what I want to do, because I'd always been drawing and always doing cartoons. But I think it was the first time like, no, I want to do exactly this. I want to like tell jokes while doing cartoons. And I started by doing a comic strip.
mhm,
Um, that's what I want to do. And then years later, I graduated up to the comic strip Bloom County. And
right.
this one happened specifically in this way. Uh, I did not get Bloom County in my newspaper right away. My grandmother had sent me, she was living in Florida at the time, and sent me like the local version of whatever Parade magazine was. It was like a little magazine that came in the Sunday newspaper, and they did an article about this new cartoonist Burke Breathitt. And I just saw like 3 or 4 of the cartoons that ran with the article, and they just knocked me right on my butt. I do remember that, and that I had to get it. And I think the first collection, which is called Loose Tales, came out after that. So in both cases, comic strips, Garfield and up to Bloom County. It for me was really, oh, I want to do that. And it began with me ripping off Garfield when I was like 11 years old. And then when I was about 13, 14, I started ripping off Bloom County. Let that be a lesson to you kids. The best artists steal. We just steal, we just rob wholesale. And I did. I copied Garfield a lot. I came up with my own comic strip called Marvin, which was about just a fat, grouchy cat, exactly like Garfield. And later I started doing comic strips, which looked exactly like Bloom County. Even my first, like, when I did a college comic strip, I think the first year and a half, it just looked exactly like Bloom County, until I finally started to find my own voice. So there, you asked a simple question, and I prattled on for 10 minutes.
No, that's great. I think a lot of people, especially in college, I think there is always that leaning towards something that influenced you. And Bloom County, yeah, I'm a couple years older than you. Bloom County was a big influence, whereas I know Breathitt was influenced by Doonesbury.
Yeah,
Uh,
very
you
much
know,
so.
he has said as much, and I think that's I think that's really cool because I do know that there are certain moments that will sort of inspire you, and then just going into your work with DC and Marvel comics, what was there a specific superhero comic or comic in general that you enjoyed the most when you were a kid or a teenager?
Yeah, I had read superhero comics from just pretty much birth, and that was purely because of my dad. My dad, and he's not a fanboy or anything. Still, it's just my dad is a 75, and when you were a kid in the 50s, everybody read comics. For those playing at home, they used to sell like 1 million copies of Superman a month, like an actual number, like 1 million, and then actually for a little while Captain Marvel outsold it. My dad was a Captain Marvel fan. So anyway, my father used to buy me. He used to go to like 7-Eleven and grab a bunch off the spinner rack and bring them home for me. And I think it wasn't. Some of them would eventually just click with me, and some didn't. Uh, Two which are really memorable, um, uh, that my dad just got me and gave to me. One was there was this. I think it was the 500th issue of Action Comics. It was like triple sized. It was a monster. and it took you through the entire history of Superman. Superman was like walking through the Superman museum and he's telling his life story. And something about having the entire life story about Superman really just struck me. Is something because it actually I've read it since then, and it actually was like really kind of sad and personal, which I guess I was about 10 or 11 when I read it. And before that, superhero comics were about fights and silliness and all that stuff. This actually felt like a real story. Um, and then later, I sort of graduated to reading more Marvel comics, and I got into the X-Men, which is John Byrne and Chris Claremont's X-Men run, which was like kind of that was sort of the seminal piece for me that really made me like a comic book fan in a big way. So I'd say those two.
Yeah, and X-Men had such a soap opera sort of feel.
Oh yeah.
To it. And
Oh yeah. No, and this undercurrent, and only realizing later this sort of undercurrent of human rights, that you didn't even realize that, it's the beautiful thing about superhero comics. Still, I'd like to think still that there's right and wrong. There's good guys and there's bad guys. There's heroes and there's villains. And when we were kids and reading them, I think that was really important. You kind of knew where you stood, and it always touched upon issues of prejudice and as well as and like sort of unspoken issues about race and and who people are and humanity, and it was all just told through the lens of superhero comics, and I think that was really formative for me as well.
And do you feel that some of that carries through with Hilo? I know, one sort of thing that's thrown at kids' graphic novels and comics sometimes is there's an assumption that it is, Barney the dinosaur. It's
right.
It's dumbed down, and I certainly don't feel that way about Hilo. And I was just wondering how you deal with some of deeper issues along with the fun and the humor.
Well, I'd say some of it happens kind of accidentally because it's just the story I want to tell. That I the way I approach it, I try not to I try not to tell a story that's just squarely aimed at kids. I try to think about it as all ages. I try to think about it as if moms and dads are sitting down and reading this with their kids, I don't want them to say like, "Oh dear God, I got to read this again." I try to aim for the Pixar movies. Pixar, if you ask anyone who works at Pixar, they are perennially driven crazy when people say they make kids movies. They're deep believers that like, no, we make movies. It just happens to be all ages. So I try to make it for everybody. And with that, I mean, I love a silly joke as much as anyone. And I should point out that nobody likes the burps and fart jokes more in my books than my father. Okay. He has a proper low grade humor and he digs it. So I love that. But also I think it's important that you tell a story with a bit of tension, that you tell us a story that feels like it might count, that maybe they get a little bit sad, a little bit dramatic, a little bit scary. I like, as I was saying, that when I was 10 and read that Superman comic, I wasn't struck just because there was a big fight with Lex Luthor at the end, which there was. But I think I was struck more by these 3 pages where Superman was talking about how much he loved Crypto, his dog. Him talking about how much he loved his dog and how special he was. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. Okay. It's only been 40 years. So when I do Hilo, I try to think about, is there a way of telling these stories that kids and grown-ups can sort of understand, that also still manages to have a bit of heart, a bit of drama? I think it's important. I think they mean a little bit more when you do that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think people don't realize sometimes with, Charlie Brown and Peanuts, how much heart and seriousness sort of was lying under some of these very silly stories.
Yeah.
And I think as an adult, it hurts too much sometimes to hold on to it. But, as a cartoonist, you kind of have to bring that out in your stories. So we're going to go into some quick questions from kids because these are the things they're really interested in. How long does it take you to make one Hilo book?
It takes about a year. They come out every year, and it takes about a year. I'd say the part that takes me the longest is writing it, as well it should. That's the part you should work on the hardest, and it's the least fun John, you can just probably attest this to this as well. Oh, and hey, kids, any other authors are talking to you and they say they love writing, they just love looking at the blank page and just bringing something to it. They're just lying to you. They're just making it up. They do not love writing. They love reading their stuff. They love editing a first draft. That's what they love.
It's
But yeah, it takes.
I was just
Go
gonna say,
on.
banging your head against the wall. It feels so good when you're done.
Oh man, yes. Yeah, the relief of no longer banging your head against the wall. That's what we're talking about. And also, that beauty of the first draft going off. You've written it, then you've drawn out your rough draft, and in our case, we get to send it along to our editor, Shayna Corey. Well, John and I have the same editor, Shayna Corey. Shayna's always really, really just amazing. She's really helpful. She's a storyteller herself, so she understands how it works. So I don't know if I can actually get through it as fast as I do, like a book a year, if I didn't have Shayna guiding me through there. But that's what takes the longest. The writing stinks. I don't like doing it, but it's got to get done. And then the fun part starts was when I'm drawing it. Then the really, really fun part is when I'm inking it, when I'm drawing over my pencils and ink, because that's just fun. Then I'm listening to podcasts and half watching television and rewatching the entire run of The West Wing one more time while I'm down there drawing. It's the best.
Yes, that's a personal favorite for me as well. And and then when I finish the series, like I don't want to start over again, but it is good sometimes to have a show that really well, so you can occupy that part of your brain. Because if a show's too interesting, I was just talking to my assistant Sydney about Mask of the Phantasm, the Batman animated movie. And I tried to listen to it like a radio show while I was drawing, and I couldn't do it. It was too interesting.
No, you gotta get stuff that's one really, really chatty. You guys talk amongst yourselves. John and I are gonna talk about this. Things we do while we're drawing. So one, you gotta find a show that's really, really chatty. So West Wing's a good one. Like A Better Call Saul, pretty good. Mm-hmm. They have really strong visuals, so it's hard. But shows where they're like really making with the chit chat, that's good. But also, if you've seen it before and really, really love it, yes, it sort of just carries you through. So you're not constantly stopping on, what was that? You don't want that. You want to just keep plowing on through, like a radio show.
Now, you talked about how you would draw while you were watching King Kong or watching, did you watch TV while you worked on your homework? Because I did. I've been told by people I could never do that. And for some reason, I had the TV on. I think that's why I've got all these pop culture references bouncing around my head. I always had the television on. So I'm doing math, and I don't know, it's happy days.
Probably for math. I was probably pretty bad at math. And I was really bad at math. So like that, in my household, the TV was going, it never stopped. We were one of those households. And I think most of my education happened while a rerun of MASH was going on.
Right. Well, there was a period in like the 80s where 24 hours a day, there had to be a rerun of MASH on television. It was like the law.
Yeah, and I was there for most of it. I can even tell you from 4 o'clock to 5 every day on Channel 5 back in New York, there was MASH. And I would watch 2 episodes a day for like forever. It was a huge influence on me. So yeah, I did a lot of that. A lot of homework being done while the TV was on. Right. Which you should not do. You shouldn't do. I should say now, you probably as well. Like we should probably point this out. We are not talking about writing while the TV is going or listening to podcasts or anything. We're talking about drawing, which is a different thing. Your brain can be occupied while that is a multitasking thing. When I'm writing, nothing else can be going on. I just, probably why I hate it so much. Like I want to half watch The West Wing, but no, I got to figure out how to make this scene funny. So the writing has to take place pretty much in silence.
Right. You don't want Hilo starting to sound like Jed Bartlett as your.
Nope. There could be worse things, but yeah, no.
That's true. Well, so another kid's question: what is the hardest part? And I think you kind of answered it in the writing of.
Yeah.
But what's the hardest part? What's the hardest character to draw in the Hilo series?
Oh, well, somebody new, I'll have to say. I'll say, if you want to get down to it, Gina's hair. So we got DJ, we've got Gina, we've got Hilo. Gina's hair, I did a lot of these. She's got braids and she's got lines through them. That was probably a mistake early on because I'm still having to draw all these lines in her hair. You got to think ahead. So that gets a little time consuming. It's not hard, it's time consuming. But anytime I do a new character, it takes a little while. Like right now in the 8th book, I've got this small little character who, over the course of drawing her for 200 pages, she kind of changes by the end of the book. And now I'm looking at the beginning again. It's like, oh, let me just match it up. So anyone new is kind of hard. But everybody else, like Hilo, DJ, Gina, I'm on my 6th book. So we're a good 1,200 pages of characters in. So I pretty much have them down. They're not hard, but it is something to think about. If you're planning on doing a story with a character over and over again, take the time to sit down and draw that character over and over again, or you're going to be stuck with it. I always go to a comic book reference, comic book artist Walt Simonson, who's one of the best who ever lived. So Walt Simonson talks about, he created this character called Beta Ray Bill, who becomes Beta Ray Thor. To tell it really short for everyone playing at home, he was an alien who managed to pick up Thor's hammer and become Thor. And Walt Simonson talks about that when he became Thor, Beta Ray Thor had this amazing, beautiful costume. You should look it up. It's very elaborate, beautiful cape, these giant boots, all these things going on inside the chest plate, whatnot. These things going on the shoulder blades, this beautiful helmet. It's gorgeous, an unbelievable design. And the way Walt tells it, I think, is that by the time he was drawing him in the 2nd issue, he realized, oh my gosh, I got to draw this guy over and over and over again. There's so much going on in this costume. So sometimes you got to plan ahead. So simple works. And John, I'm sure you could attest to this as well. That, you got to find, you don't want them to be boring, but you want to have them just enough detail, but not too much detail that you can't keep doing it over and over again without being so labor intensive.
Oh yeah, actually, I have a little pup. This is Mindy, who's in Max Meow, my comic.
Yeah.
And Mindy has purple eyeglasses, and those purple eyeglasses have caused no end of. I couldn't have just gotten her laser surgery first before I did her?
The glasses over. What are we talking about? Are we talking about a 3/4 turn becomes a pain? Or are we talking about what does it for the glasses?
Well,
why is it irritating?
It ended up being the way they're rendered. It's almost easier just to have a bunch of pairs of glasses in Photoshop that is dropped in the colors. And of course that makes it, infuriating at times, or oh, the glasses don't look right, or I have to alter them. And so really it was a case where I made it so I couldn't just draw it on a page. And it's, live and learn. So it's one of those things, because I thought it was neat to have glasses over top of the mask.
Yes.
But I'll learn. But and then one, I haven't even held up the book. I mean, one thing that a lot of people don't realize, yes, right behind you, it is cover design. And the covers for Hilo seem to have, I had another one right. Oh, was that? Yep, another one. Here's another one. There seems to be a difference between what are perceived as mainstream comics or comic shop comics in the cover designs. And what would you speak up to that for a little bit?
Well, I think this was an important note from Shayna early on, that I think the first cover ideas I had were more like the comic books we grew up with. They're kind of busy, got a lot of business going on. You want them to grab and whatnot. And the first note I get no. Let's try to get iconic and simple. And then I actually started thinking about what are the comic book covers that I remember as a kid? What are the ones that jumped out at me as a kid? And they were more these simple, clean, iconic ones without a lot of business. So that's what I always try to do. I'm sorry, it sounds like a little bit of business, but a little bit of shelf appeal, meaning that if a kiddo or a grown-up sees it from across the room, I want them to be able to sort of have a semblance of what's going on there. And also with each cover, you try to tell the story with just a little bit of going on. What is this book about? If I had to break it down to just a feeling. So it was about keeping it simple. And that took a lot of work. Uh, 7 books in. I mean, I feel like the 7th book's a cheat because it looks it's because we're starting a whole new story arc. So I just swapped everyone out. It looks just like the first one. But I think that's what I try to do. Try to keep it simple and try to have a story that's evocative of it, of the story they were telling on the inside. I mean,
Right.
case in point, we don't come up with the titles. I don't come up with the titles until the book's done. Like I finished writing the book, and only then, like, okay, so what's this one about? What am I trying to say here? With this last one with Gina, the girl who broke the world, that's what kind of like clicked in my brain. It's like, well, what happens? Oh, well, all told, the world kind of got broken over the course of this story. Like, oh, there we go. Let's do that. Girl who
Right.
broke the world.
Well, you talked about Shayna and like working with editors for kids who may not realize like an editor is like equal parts cheerleader and teacher, almost checking
Yeah.
your dialogue and making sure that it's making sense, which isn't always our priority as cartoonists. And
Right.
one thing with Shayna is there have been times where I felt annoyed, and usually that means Shayna is doing her job really well. And one of the things in my second book was Max, there's someone who wants to steal all the peanuts in Kiddiopolis. I threw that out there, and Shayna had a really good point. She's like, there's a lot of people who are allergic to peanuts. Can we make it something else? And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I didn't say that to Shayna, but I felt it. I'm like, no, it's got to be peanuts, as though it really mattered. I mean, and then I'm like, what? Should I make them donuts? And I was like, suddenly I pictured all the donuts getting stolen from Kiddiopolis. There's a donut farm, and then the book became Donuts in Danger, Max Meow, Donuts in Danger. And so it's one of those things where having an editor can be so great. And
Then, yeah, I mean, with Shayna in particular, I've worked with a lot of people, and Shayna has this unique ability of, like, in this case, I mean, with you, was it really important that it was peanuts? Like, no. And like, it seems like a huge change. Like, look, it's all going to be about peanuts. It's like, does it have to actually be peanuts? Because if we're bumping some of the kids off the road a little bit because of peanuts, when it could be something else that, like, who's allergic to donuts? Like, nobody.
right.
Even if you have lactose issues, you're having gluten-free donuts. You're fine. Everybody can have donuts.
Yeah.
It's actually a minor change that changes the whole thing and doesn't really affect your story. So
Right.
they are very much
Made it
your
better.
first reader, your best critic, your best friend, and also like, you can change this. It's not going to change anything in the story. But yes, it's always that first moment of like, "Why, are you crazy? It's got to be peanuts." Again.
Yeah. And I don't know if you get edits from Sheena like this, but I get every now and then she'll put in like, it's just, I'm like, oh, there's a comment, and it's just lol, and I'm like, that made me feel so good. That took her so little time to make me feel so good. And
She
usually,
does said lots. Yeah, editors don't do that. Yes, I get lots of like, what's wrong with that joke? Oh, she likes that joke a lot. And what
right,
about this one? Oh, she told me she liked that one too. Oh no, okay, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no, compliments throughout the manuscript.
right,
Love this. That was great. LOL. Big smiley face. Like, yeah,
yeah.
notes. The
And
best.
I just have one more question I'm going to ask, and that is, so when we are having conventions in person again, which we're
Yeah.
all very hopeful for, and I'm looking forward to saying hi in person. And so, what has been the most exciting cosplay when someone's dressed up as a character that you've written or created?
Oh goodness. Gosh, where do we get? I think that the two big ones would be going back some. So on my run of Batman, I created this character, Jason Todd, who was Robin for a while, came back as a villain named Red Hood. So I think the very first time I was at a comic convention and somebody walked by, dressed as Jason Todd in the Red Hood outfit that I designed with Doug Monkey, who was the artist on the book. And I kind of looked at them and I said, like, wow. And then later I happened to be walking past them again. It's like, hey, get your camera out. Like, why? Just get your camera out. Like, we're gonna take a picture together. I'm Judd Winnick. I created Jason Todd. Like, oh my God. Like, yeah, no, cool. Let's do it. Let's do it. That was awesome. And then when pictures started floating in of kids dressing up as Hilo, just really blew my mind. I mean, I think I'll tell the story without getting choked up. During, I think when the second book came out, I met a little girl actually. I think she was maybe in 3rd grade, and she had been bullied a lot at school. And a, it's a very long story short. One day she started coming to school dressed as Hilo. She put on a blonde wig, wore a t-shirt she made, and was dressed head to toe Hilo. And it wasn't Halloween. But the kids are asking, why are you dressed like this? I'm dressed like my favorite character, Hilo. And for whatever reason, it took the entire focus on off picking on her. And it became all about her just being Hilo. And she managed just to blow past it. And it just killed me. I spoke with her mom. Her mom got all weepy about it, and I got all weepy about it. I say the best part is when I met her, this little girl who dressed up like Hilo. She was telling me the story, and she wasn't even the least bit emotional about it at all. it was like, yeah, no, they're picking on me. I'll go home crying like every day, like, oh, for like a couple of weeks. Like, no, it was like months. From the time school started, almost to the December holidays, I would go home crying. And she was so totally fine now. It was the best. I wish this upon everybody, that they can make a little something that can actually improve a kiddo's life like that. It was awesome. So that was the best cosplay story I got.
That's great. I'm a little broken up just listening to that. Having that impact. And then one final question for me is, you've been doing Hilo. You're continuing to do Hilo. Is there any book that's in your future beyond the Hilo books?
Yeah, there's a couple more series coming out. I'll tiptoe around this a little bit. We've already announced it. There's a new superhero book that I'll be writing and drawing called The Mighty, which is it is yet another kiddo superhero book. And what I'm also hoping to do is do a few more titles, where unfortunately I can only write and draw one book a year. With The Mighty, I was able to manage to squeeze in 2, just barely. But I'm hoping to team up with other cartoonists where I'll be writing the story and they'll be drawing it. That's my hope. It's been a long time since I've collaborated with some folks, and I look forward to that too. But The Mighty, which we don't have a release date for, about a little girl who's also a superhero, that'll be probably 2022. Way off when we're going outside again, and the air is sweeter, the sun is shining. Knock wood. So off in the distance. But I will say this, that I think for the rest of my life, there'll be me writing and drawing stories just like this. To go back to King Kong and to Hilo, took me a while to figure out and kind of come full circle, because Hilo is very much like the comic strips that I wanted to do. They're drawn in kind of a goofy way with lots of jokes, and they're stories for everybody. I mean, that's kind of what I've always wanted to do. So I'm going to stick with that.
That sounds great. And with that, I'll thank you, Judd Winnick, for coming on, being part of Kids Love Comics, and hopefully we'll all see you in person in Baltimore next year or sometime soon.
I can't wait. Hopefully a day will come soon, very soon. John, thank you so much. This has been like, it's barely been like a interview thingy. It's like we're hanging out. I appreciate that. It has been great.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate you taking all this time to talk with me and meet with me. I know your schedule's busy, and I know your kids need to start taking over your Wi-Fi again.
They will. They're probably texting me, right? That's what I'm getting text right now. Like, Dad, it's been an hour. Can we go back on? Right. Literally, it's been an hour. Can we go back on?
So, okay. Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
All right, folks, that was John Gallagher with Judd. An amazing interview. I hope everyone learned so much about a great book. I know I learned a lot about a great book. And right now we are going to have our next artist. She is world-renowned artist who's helped us out on so many different adventures. And she's a great artist that I can't wait to talk to. You might have seen her. In fact, I know you've seen her at the Kids Love Comics Pavilion at the Baltimore Comic-Con. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Miss Dawn Griffin. Dawn, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Chris?
Great, great. I want to say thank you so much for coming back as part of the Kids Love Comics Pavilion virtual session. You know, with everything going on in the world, we're so happy to offer this programming for people, and people get to learn how to draw. So you know what? Why don't we get right to it? Dawn, what are we going to draw right now?
Well, if you have come by the Kids Love Comics section in the past, you probably know what we're going to draw. We're going to draw aliens. Because aliens are the most fun to draw for sure, because they can be anything and you can use your imagination and you can push the limits. It's not like drawing a cat. You know what a cat looks like. An alien can be anything. So this will be a lot of fun. And we're both going to draw aliens at the same time, I think.
Yes, we are. So if you want to start drawing, I just want to make sure we have the right one, and show us how we're going to start off with an alien.
Okay, I'm not sure if you still have the worksheet that we can show the audience, maybe? That would be helpful if you can load that up. So if you've done this before, or if you've come by our section before at Baltimore, I passed out these worksheets. There it is. Boom. So you get these worksheets, and it's basically a blueprint for an alien. And I think we're going to provide a way to download this so you can do it whenever you want. And if you have a printer, you can print out as many as you want. And so Chris and I are basically going to demonstrate how we're going to draw two different really wacky aliens using our imagination and this blueprint. So there's shapes, there's a number of eyes, different arms, different legs. I mean, it could be anything. And my only suggestion, the big rule of this, is think outside the box. So if you're drawing 3 eyes, well, they don't have to go on the head where our eyes are, because this is an alien. So you can draw the eyes anywhere you want. It can be in their hand. It can be in their tail. It can be one big eye and 2 little eyes. Like, you can do whatever you want. So if you want to follow along with Chris and I, you can draw your alien. Just don't do it the exact same way we are. Take it your own way. Yeah.
And I like that, because this is your creation. So you can create whatever you want to create. And I think that's a really good tip that you had there.
Just think of the movie Monsters, Inc. and how many different types of monsters there were. They didn't all look the same. They all looked different. So this is what you can do to kind of push your imagination. And that's how artists work, you know, especially when you're drawing something that's not, you know, set, standard, dogs, cats, people. We all kind of have the same features. So this is pushes it to a different way. So you ready?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So now let's start drawing. So if you can start drawing on the drawing board right now.
Okay. Can you give me a shape? Because that's the first step. Because we can all draw shapes. Right?
How about a triangle?
A triangle. Okay. Well, I'm going to take it the next step. So when we think of a triangle, we think of it pointing up, right? But I'm going to do it differently, because that's how this game works. Okay. So I'm going to draw a triangle. Somehow. There we go. Of course, now it's not working. My stylus isn't working. Hold on one second.
It's all right. It happens. All right. So now you're going to draw a triangle.
Yes. Let me get my stylus working again, hopefully.
I'll try a triangle too. Let's see.
Well, how about you do a square?
Okay. All right. I'll do a square.
All right. So here's my triangle. All right. So we can all draw triangles, squares. That's pretty easy. Anybody can just jump in and do something. So if you want to be Team Dawn, let's draw triangles. If you want to be Team Chris, we draw squares. And then we'll take it after that to the next step.
All right. So there's my square. Now, what do we do next, Dawn? What's next?
I think we go to arms. So on the worksheet, there's 3 different types, but you could do, we can be kind of creative, because we're just playing around with each other here. So how about on your square alien, you have to draw 3 squiggly arms.
Whoa. Okay. And then on your triangle alien, how about 4 4 arms?
What kind of arms? Give me something else, like characteristic. That'd be kind of like
For
wings or hairy arms or
fiery arms.
Fiery arms. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay. So I got to do how many? 3 squigglies?
3 squiggly. Yeah. So they can be like tied in knots if you want something fun like that. And I'm doing fiery arms. Well, I'm going to give them hands, but then they're going to be on fire too. Oh my goodness.
So we are creating our own aliens here. And what's great about creating your own aliens is that you can do whatever you want. This is your artwork. This is your creation. So with this workshop, it's teaching you that you can be as creative as you want and you can draw whatever you want as long as you're having fun with it.
Exactly.
So what we're doing is we started off with a certain shape for the body. As you can see, I have a square for mine. Dawn has a triangle for hers. Then we drew arms. We're challenging each other into arms. We're challenging each other into what each arm should look like on our characters. So now Dawn is, wow, look at this. This is looking good.
I have tons of fiery arms going on here.
All right. So Dawn, what do we do next now? We have our body. We have our main body. We have our arms. What's next?
I think we need eyes. I think our alien needs to see where he's going, don't you?
Oh, wow. Okay. I like this.
Yeah. Okay.
How many eyes should I draw?
You feel feisty?
I think so. I think we can, yeah.
Okay, let's do 10. You have to do 10. 10
Wow.
They can be anywhere, don't forget.
I don't know how many eyes I think I want you to draw. You said 10, 10 for me. So let's say, how about 4? 4 eyes for you, 10 for me.
4 arms.
Yes, exactly. So now we're adding eyes to our alien. So now I'm going to draw, I need 10 eyes.
I'm going to draw one. I drew an arm that looks like it's holding something. So he's going to hold one of his eyes. And then I'm going to draw a gigantic one in the middle. I'm going to color it in. This one in the middle looks like it's kind of sad, actually. I'm going to give it a little tears. It's a sad alien. Maybe we can come up with a story as to why.
Oh, look at that.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, the alien does look a little sad.
I'm going to give him 2 little eyes up here. He's so silly. And this one down here, I think we need some eyelashes, just so you know it's an eye. That's helpful.
And now, so here's a close-up of my alien so far. As you can tell, I'm not an artist. So I have the 10 eyes. This is our square body. Here are the arms. And then now we're going to go and get a closer look at Dawn's. And as you see there, she has the alien with the, here's her triangle. Here's her 3 eyes and the fiery arms. And here's another eye being held. That's a great touch right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we did our bodies. We did our arms. We're drawing our eyes. What should we draw next?
Well, how are they going to move? You know, we kind of walk on legs or something, but I say we can make as many or as little as we want. So the numbers are out on this round. Let's do something like you can make it 1 leg or 3 legs or 5 legs, whatever you want.
So this is wild card.
Yes, but I'm going to give you something. You have to draw a chicken leg.
A chicken leg. Okay.
3 or 5.
All right. And I want you to draw a giraffe leg.
A giraffe leg? So it has spots, I'm guessing.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So here we go.
All right. I'm going to give him 1 long giraffe leg. This is going to be the weirdest looking alien ever.
And then you said 1 what leg?
A chicken leg. Well, you can do chicken legs. You don't have to do 1. So you can do a couple chicken legs.
I don't even know what that's going to look like. Yeah.
Well, don't forget when you're drawing, and this is for everyone listening, when you're drawing, you can use references. So if you're like, I don't remember what a chicken leg looks like, you can always look it up. That's what the internet does now.
Yeah, the internet is a massive tool for references. I'm going to just draw from memory what I think a chicken leg is going to look like. So,
and then maybe when you're done, you can look it up and see how close you were, and you can learn something if you ever have to draw a chicken leg again. You can say, it actually has 4 talons, not 3. Interesting. You know, it's kind of a good check, you know, as much as you think you know what a chicken looks like, then you got to draw one. And trust me, every artist uses references, even when they've been doing it for years and years and years. You don't always remember.
It doesn't look anything like a chicken leg, but I think it looks kind of cool.
Well, at least you can get around now. That's good.
Yeah. At least he has a way of getting around. Folks, if you're just tuning in now, I have Dawn here. She's teaching us how to draw aliens. Dawn has amazing books that are kid-friendly and available for you. And she is one of our artists that comes to our Kids Love Comics Pavilion at the Baltimore Comic-Con. This year we're doing it virtually, and we're having a lot of fun learning how to draw.
Yay.
So right now we have our aliens. Wow, this is looking pretty good. I'm liking our alien drawing so far.
These are looking aliens. And every time you draw one of these, as long as you keep pushing the boundaries, they always look so different.
So now we're looking at a closer shot of your alien. Now, if you want to just go over again and show everyone what we did so far.
Okay, so far, we started with the shape because that's really easy. And sometimes when you're looking at blank paper, it can be overwhelming. Well, how am I ever going to draw an alien? So it's good to start with a shape. A lot of artists start with a simple shape, and then that's just step 1. And drawings are just a lot of steps. So we both gave each other a shape, and I got a triangle. Chris gave me a triangle, and I drew it upside down to make it a little different than what you might think. And I gave Chris a square. And from there, we started adding arms, and I have fiery arms. That's what Chris said I should do, is fiery arms. So I drew some fiery arms, and they're all giving like thumbs up, or they're pointing. And then I planned ahead. So my one arm actually has fingers that are holding like this. I was like, I bet I can have him hold something later. Let's see. And then when Chris said, okay, I'm going to give you 4 eyes, put it in the hand. So sometimes you plan ahead and come up with something. You never know. It's like improvisational art.
It's really good. It looks so. This is so much fun. What do we do next for our alien art?
I think I know on my worksheet I have something that's just kind of a wild card, zany, like give them something else. Maybe, you know, they have a favorite thing, that maybe it's a weapon, you know, or something they carry around with them. Or maybe they have a favorite teddy bear, you know, you don't know. I mean, this little alien could be
a little prop. They need a prop.
They need a prop of some kind, something goofy, you know, or even just some characteristic that's outside of the box.
Okay, I got one for you. This is really good. Do you remember those sticky hands that you go like this and then
throw them on the wall? Yeah,
and then they grab like paper and stuff. That's what I think yours should have. A sticky hand toy.
A sticky hand toy that I'm trying to decide, he or she. I'm not sure. Maybe it isn't even a he or she. It's
just our friend.
Entirely.
Yeah. Now, what should mine have?
I think a water pistol, like a super soaker, you know? Like,
okay, so now we're going to be adding our props to our aliens. And we're going to add I'm adding a water pistol, and she's going to add a sticky hand toy. Let's see.
Let's see. I'm trying to think now, taking it to the next level. So I drew a little sticky hand thing that's kind of throws it, but it stays in his hand. I'm trying to think, what can it grab? I think my alien likes candy. I mean, who doesn't like candy? So I think the sticky hand is actually going to have maybe a lollipop or something. And I gotta fix my stylus again. Are you drawing with a stylus right now, Chris, or are you just drawing?
I'm actually drawing with a mouse. So it's a little bit trickier, but it still works. Now, what's great about this is we're creating our own characters. We're doing whatever we want because that's what's fun about being a creative artist. You can create your own character. And the beauty of this workshop is it's showing that it's all done using shapes and your imagination. Like if you look closely at Dawn's, I mean, look at that. It's just this is such a cool character. It's a triangle, circles, and then squiggly lines, more circles over here. Yeah. The giraffe leg came out amazing, by the way. And here's the sticky hand.
Just one leg.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And so that's what we're doing. We're just creating different characters. Now mine looks like it's like a box with high heels on. But this is
maybe he's dressed up.
Yeah, you never know. So this is our square alien with 10 eyes, arms, chicken feet, and a water gun. Yeah, lucky for me, my brother's the artist. Speaking of my brother joined in, and he's showing us an alien that he drew. Look at that.
Wow. Oh, I love the rubber ducky.
Great job out there. The rubber ducky is the prop.
Yeah.
And then with the eye over there and the different arms.
And Mark, if I told you just draw an alien and didn't give you any clues or any blueprint, do you think you'd draw that guy right there?
Absolutely not. Very good point, Dawn. Very good point. No way would I have came up with this weird creature. So very fun. I've always seen you do the workshop. I was happy to participate.
Yeah, it's a goofy, fun time. It's like Mad Libs, and maybe our older audience watchers might know what that is. It's a bit like that. You take it, you see where it goes, and it's a good time.
Let's take a look again.
Color it too.
Yeah. When you color it in, that's a lot of fun. So let's take a look one more time at our artwork, and then we're going to take, let's see, we're going to zoom in one more time. So now, are we missing anything else? Do we need to add anything else into this?
I mean, I always say you should name your alien.
Wow, that's a very good idea. What should we name it?
I always try to think outside the box again. So you can't just name him like Fred. Like Fred is a typical human name. And I do have a comic that has an alien named Fred, but his friend is Zorfbert, which is a very weird name. So I thought it was kind of funny to combine the two. But I think you have to I combine names together sometimes to make a weird alien name. So give me another name besides Fred, and we'll see if we can combine Fred with another name and make a fun name. That's like
Fred and Willard.
Frillard.
Frillard. Let's take a look at Frillard. I think Frillard is. Oh, there's Frillard.
Oh, that's definitely a Frillard.
That's great.
Be anything else? It wouldn't be a Chris or a Dawn. That's a Frillard. It's a Frillard and a half, really.
That's great. And now let's see. What should we name mine?
Let's do two girl names. So maybe Patricia.
Okay, I like that. Name? That's a good one. And Penelope.
Oh, that's really complicated. Patricia. I'm trying to think how you combine those together. That's difficult. Penelotricia.
Penelotricia. That's perfect.
Penelotricia.
We have so many great ideas going on. Now, how can our viewers find out more about what's going on in the world of Dawn?
Oh, well, maybe you could see in the background there or there. I'm not good with my one backwards here. So in the background, I have the inspiration for this game, which is Zorfbert and Fred. And my newest book that just came out, and I was really excited to sell it at Baltimore Comic-Con this year, is called Ida Finds Her Voice. And you can find that at idafindshervoice.com. And it's a children's book that's great for children and parents. It's kind of a good bonding book for parents to talk to their kids and kids to talk to their parents about difficult subjects like prejudice, intolerance, things like that are really hard to bring up, but Ida makes it really easy. And you just kind of go through Ida's day, and she's such a caring, loving person, and she sees things that make her tummy upset and doesn't know why.
Oh, wow. So this is, when did this come out?
About maybe 6 months ago, I think. And I have a ton of these books. So you can order online at Ida Finds Her Voice, or if you happen to know me personally and you follow me on social media, you can message me, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So
perfect.
I can always mail you a book with a sketch inside. It's a lot of fun.
Dawn, I want to thank you very much. I want to tell all our viewers to go to that website that you see right on the screen right now. Check out her new book. Dawn will be with us next time we're at Baltimore Comic-Con. And Dawn, thank you so much. We really enjoyed the drawing.
Thank you for inviting me. This is a lot of fun.
All right, Dawn. So we're going to have to say goodbye to Dawn, and we're going to say hello to our next guest artist, Mr. Chris Flick. Chris, how are you, sir?
Hey, I found my, even though we're not, at the show, I found my badge. So I figured, I'd put it on. So it's like we're at the show already.
Oh, so he's ready. He's wearing his badge. So this way you can get wherever you need to get to. So that's always good. So what's new and exciting in the world of Chris Flick?
I was just saying, I would just finish watching you guys. That was pretty awesome drawing those aliens. So, nothing much going on, just I've been doing if people want to find me on Facebook, Chris Flick at Facebook. I've been drawing people as I would randomly post, hey, you want to be drawn as a werewolf? Post a picture in the comments, and I've been drawing just random people as werewolves.
And I have to say, Chris does a great job. I see a lot of people come up to his booth at conventions and they walk away with giant smiles on their face. So you say that you draw people as werewolves. How about you show us how to draw? Does that sound like fun? That sounds like something you'll be great. Sounds like something you'll be into.
I'm going to show everybody how I draw my main werewolf character. His name's Roy.
Let's do it. Let's get to drawing. So now, Chris Flick is going to teach me and you how to draw his main character, Roy. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. Let me make sure that I have my pen working here. So while we're doing that, I'm gonna my Bluetooth needs to connect with my pencil here real quick.
Not a problem.
Yeah. So I saw you guys, you and Dawn were talking about drawing, simple shapes, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to draw. There we go. I'm all connected now. So let me get back to the drawing board here. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So it's all simple shapes, just like you guys did. It's all going to be circles, shapes, and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a color here, and it's going to represent like a sketch. I do really quick sketches, and then I ink. So I'm going to start with a circle like that. Can you see that? Is it dark enough?
Yep, that looks good.
There we go. So we're going to start with a circle anywhere you want to put on a piece of paper. Just a simple egg-shaped circle. And then we're going to draw another one. I mean, these are not complicated. And you can see I'm being very loose. And just like Dawn said, you did a great square. She did a triangle. So, and then I'm going to draw another circle somewhere right there. And you can see I'm being very kind of messy. I'm not worried about too many things. Kind of looks like a weird snowman, right?
Well, Chris, what's really cool is I see my brother Mark is drawing too. So when we're done, we're going to see what he drew using your workshop right now.
Super. So another really complicated thing to draw is a square. So somewhere down here, it's just a nice little square. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Doing good, Chris. Yeah, doing good.
And then at the bottom of that square, we're going to draw another circle right there.
So we're just keep drawing circles and squares. Now that's what's great about art is that you take a character and it's really just shapes like Mickey Mouse, a bunch of circles. So like just drawing these shapes, you sit back and you see it's an amazing artwork.
So all here, right here, after I draw that bottom circle, just 2 lines here. And you see up here, I did a little like a triangle pizza shape. And somewhere on this side, we're just going to draw another circle right here. And then we're just draw 2 lines, one there and one there. And we're going to draw another little weird triangle shape right here. And we're just going to do the little line right there. And for anybody who's played football, we're going to draw a couple of deflated footballs. We're going to, somewhere on this hand, we're going to, on this circle right here, and it's going to end up being a hand. We're going to go up, straight up, and then a curve. And then we're going to draw a couple more like that. 1, 2, 3. And you see that they're curved, they're curving like this. So see that shape right there? And now we're gonna draw the top of his head, and it's gonna be really fun. We're gonna draw a couple of waves. So we're gonna come up here, draw a line, and then we're gonna do one wave, 2 waves, 3, and 4. And then this line here, we're gonna come all the way down. And like a little curve, and then we're just going to do that. We're going to cut. Now we have to draw a couple more circles. 1 circle, 2 circles right here. They can be as big as you want. And then above the circles, we're going to draw a couple of triangles. 1 triangle, 2 triangles.
It really is, Chris. It really is amazing how you're breaking this down for our artists, that it's simple shapes, circles, triangles. Yep. Now, when you look at art, do you see that? Like, say, when you look at Bart Simpson, do you break it down to the simple shapes?
Oh, yeah. It's just Bart Simpson was a good example because it's animation, so they got to be able to draw real fast. So, yeah, animators and cartoonists, I'm sure Mark will tell you too, we see shapes underneath the characters. So now I did another pizza shape right here, and we're going to do a couple more waves. We're going to do 1, 2. I don't know if you can tell that. It's really messy, but it's just a guide for what we're going to do now. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change my color to black. So all of this would be like a light pencil sketch. And this is what would be called the inking process. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to go back to that first circle we drew, and I'm going to make it a little fatter. I'm going to make my pencil a little bit fatter so you guys can really see it. And then I'm going to come up here, and some of the lines I'm going to follow, and some I'm not going to follow. It's all whatever I want to do. And then we're going to put like a little, almost like an egg with a bite out of it. So, like that. And then somewhere in this shape, we're going to do another little triangle. And then we're going to color that shape in. This would normally be a solid one, but for speed purposes, just for demonstration purposes, you can see that if anybody has a dog or a cat, they know that dogs and cats have shiny noses. And then we're just going to follow our lines around the shape. So 1 and 2. See, I didn't connect that other one. And then somewhere in here, we're going to make one big line. And then we're going to put a little circle here and a circle there. And we're going to shade that in. We're going to keep a little bit of a blank area, and that's going to be the reflection of his eyes. All right. And then it's just a matter of following these lines however we want to do it. We're going to do his hair. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that I didn't follow my lines. I could be very creative. I could be as creative as I want. His ear, we're going to go up and over. Just like that. We're going to go up, and then we're going to curve it just like that. And then somewhere down here, we're going to curve it and then do a loop. And we're going to put a little line right there, and that's his ear. You drew a werewolf ear.
That's amazing.
And then
it really is amazing to watch a character come to life right in front of your eyes. This started as a blank canvas, and now you're drawing this really cool looking character right in front of us. I love watching this all come together like this. This is what's so interesting.
Yeah, and these are tricks that cartoonists use over the years. So now we're going to draw his werewolf has a furry mouth. So we're going to draw a couple more cool waves, just like we did up here. We're going to do it. We're going to do it over here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then connect.
So, Chris, we got a comment from the Baltimore Comic-Con, actually, and they said, my hair looks like that every morning.
Well, I don't have any hair, so I can't say anything.
We have another comment here. It says, hey, Dad.
Oh, that's my daughter. That's
so
my
you have your family watching, which is great. Yep. We're watching Mr. Chris Flick. He's teaching us how to draw. He has great comics. He's teaching us how to draw werewolves. We're almost done with his main comic, Roy. And this is really creative because it started as a blank canvas and it's going. Now we're gonna check in with Mark. Mark, how's your artwork going? Look at that.
It's going pretty good. Yeah, I'm having fun.
It looks, Chris, what do you think? That looks pretty good, right?
That looks pretty good. Yep.
Look at that. This is looking good. So that's what Chris Flick drew. This is how Mark's drawing. And now we're going to continue on with this.
So what I did here is I followed this line straight up, and then I brought it down, and I curved, and I hooked it. So that's his lip, and then somewhere in there I gave him a triangle. That's his fang, and then I'm coloring in his mouth, shading it in, like that. And then I'm going to go up here back to my triangles up at his eyeballs, and we're just going to color those in, shade those in, and see, I got my little blue here. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go over here like this because I can change my mind if I want and shade that in like that. And then we're gonna do his neck. He's got a furry neck, so we're gonna do one line and two lines, but we're not gonna connect it. We're gonna keep it open.
One thing that I always find interesting about eyebrows, that just the placement of these can add a whole facial feature. Like if it was up high, it looks like he's angry. Down low, it could be that they're scared. Now, don't you find that to be interesting that just the placement of eyebrows sets what the scene is?
Watch this. So we can do this.
Let's see.
You're right. It can change his attitude.
See? I mean, now he looks, wow. That is amazing.
And we can go here and we can take this out and change that line and make it curved like this.
Yeah. And now it looks completely different character. Yeah. Just by changing two things. That's what's amazing about art. Just changing two things can change the whole feeling of the artwork itself. I find that so interesting.
And then the rest, I'm just following the lines here. And I'm going to get something complicated real quick. Let's go back up to his hand real quick while we still have time. We're going to do his thumb. We're going to go straight up, and then we're going to curve the other line. And then somewhere down here, we're going to do a little fatty part. So if you look at your hand, everybody has a fatty part in their hand. So that's their palm. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go straight up and hook.
The hook.
Straight up and hook. Straight up and hook. And he only has 3 fingers. And if you watch stuff like The Simpsons, Chris, you brought it up. All the characters only have a thumb and 3 fingers.
Is there a reason why they do that?
Speed. Yeah, because the animators found out a long time ago that the one finger you don't really need is the pinky. So you can hold beers, cans, drinks, whatever, with 3 fingers and a thumb.
So it makes it easier for them, less for them to have to draw.
Right, exactly. And then I know you guys were drawing fiery aliens. I was actually hoping they had furry arms. So we're going to actually draw some furry arms here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're just going to connect that hand right there.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make this smaller here. Let's see. Ooh, that's really big. So let's see if I can make this smaller. There. Oh, no. Making the whole thing. Okay. All right. So somewhere we're going to erase that little line right there. We're going to draw a moon. Are you guys ready to draw a moon?
Let's do it.
Somewhere in the corner, we're just going to draw a little circle. Not all the way. It could be like in the corner of your page like that. And then we're going to draw some squiggly lines in here. And that's your moon. And where do werewolves always hang out, Chris?
Would
you say a forest?
I was going to say that.
Okay, so we're going to draw a forest. It's real easy and it's really fun. Somewhere on this side over here, we're just going to, and I'm going to erase that, and we're going to draw some squiggly lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and cut it somewhere down there. And then maybe we go 1, 2, 3, and just like this. And if we wanted to do, since I got color here, just to show you what it's going to look like, we can shade that in if we want. And green for leaves and trees and stuff like that. And
wow, look at that.
So you can see that he's in the middle of a forest somewhere. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. I don't think I can layer it, but we're going to erase these lines, and we're going to make that moon yellow. It's going to be a full moon.
Oh, wow. This is looking really great, Chris.
So we're going to do this. And then if we want to get really fancy, we're going to make a smaller line. And we're going to put some fog in here. Like we can put this in. Let's see, how am I doing on time here? Almost done.
Yeah.
Almost done. So we're going to do gray, or, I don't have, let's see if I can do a gray here real quick. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know, but we could do something like this. We can come up here and do fog. That comes over here, and you can just play around, whatever you want to do, like that. And then
it looks great.
Werewolves always howl, so
there it is. That's your trademark.
Let's hear that howl, Chris. Let's hear that howl.
Ow! So that's how you draw my werewolf character with simple shapes.
It looks great. And as you saw, Chris broke it down for you in simple shapes. It really is. Circles, half pizza slices, squares, everything is thrown in there. Chris, that was an amazing job. And it's so interesting. Let's see how Mark did. Mark, let's take a look at yours. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Not too bad. Now, Mark, it looks like you had the same thing. You did like a little blue line, and you sketched it out, and then you inked it on top, right?
I followed your directions to a T, sir. It was fun.
Thank you so much, Chris.
how
Mark,
you
thanks
do
for
it.
joining us. That was great. Now, Chris, how can anyone get more information about you and your books?
Okay, so actually, Dawn reminded me that while I was watching you guys, I have two coloring books on Amazon right now, and I have them bookmarked for here real quick, and I'll pop them in the chat. But basically, if you go to Amazon.com and you search for my name and Roy the Werewolf, two coloring books will come up.
And the coloring books are a lot of fun. Trust me, you definitely want to check out the coloring books.
So here's one. They're going to be in the chat. And let's see if I got the other one. So yeah, one's called Roy the Werewolf and his Congregating Consortium of Creature Compatriots, and the other one is Roy Goes to the Comic-Con. So
now I want to show everybody one of my favorite pages out of it right here. Roy goes to the Comic-Con and meets the Mariano brothers. Right there, look at that. I made it into the coloring book. I can't believe it. I'm honored to be a part of the coloring book. I think that's great.
Both coloring books have lots of activities and also, how to draw my characters and stuff like that too. So then people can find me on Facebook or also on Instagram at Chris Flick Art.
And then also you also have your other website, right?
Capesandbabes.com. That's where you can read all sorts of adventures about Roy. Roy is a werewolf who hangs out in a comic book store, and the comic book store is called Capes and Babes. Let's see if I can turn around.
Make sure you check out that website down there. Now we do have there's the shirt.
I don't know if you can see that logo.
So Chris, we have a couple comments here. There's one that I want to bring up, and I want to get your feedback on this. I can't draw for the life of me. I hear this all the time at workshops. I hear this all the time at conventions. But the truth is, you can draw. Just have fun drawing. I understand. I don't know how to draw well, but I like to draw. As you saw in the previous workshop, I was trying to draw an alien, but you got to remember, no artist is born with the ability to draw as amazing as they are now. Practice makes perfect. Don't you agree, Chris?
I was gonna say something very similar, Chris. I hear that all the time, and the thing I tell people is I actually ask a question in our workshops is how many kids, adults can play a musical instrument, and invariably at least half or more than half people raise their hands, and I say I can't play a musical instrument, but it's not because I don't know how, it's because I don't want to practice. Yeah. In practice, I want to pick up a guitar and I just want to play it, and I don't want to learn the chords. I just want to play like a great musician who sadly just recently passed, Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen, fantastic guitarist. I just want to pick the guitar up and start playing like him. But even Eddie Van Halen had to learn.
You have to learn. So whenever you hear this, I can't draw for the life of me. It doesn't matter. Just draw. Have fun drawing. Have fun creating. As long as you're creating, you're having fun and you're having a good time. We also have another fellow comic artist checking in with us, Emilio. Emilio said that. So did I, guys. So Emilio's in your coloring book as well, right?
Yes. That first one, Roy Goes to Comic-Con. I drew a bunch of Roy, my werewolf, meets all my friends, like you and Mark, Emilio, Dawn's in the book, all my other fellow cartooning friends who hang out at the Kids Love Comics corner of Baltimore. So I thought it was a great way to honor all of you guys and say, hey, and that's the other thing cartoonists can do too. They can put their friends in comics and stuff like that.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you very much. Everyone, please make sure you go check out Chris's website there so you can get some more information of what's going on. And thanks again, and hopefully we'll see you at a convention soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys learned a whole bunch and keep practicing. Draw aliens and draw werewolves.
That's it, Chris. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Ahoo!
So, folks, we had such great times, but the fun keeps on going because, wait, there's more. Right now, we are going to teach you a craft that you can do at home. What's that? What craft can I do at home? Well, let me introduce you to a little friend that my amazing wife made. Hi, everyone. Look at me. That's right. Look, this is, how much do you think this puppet cost? What's that? $100? $200? $1,000? No, it costs next to nothing. Oh, wait, we have one guest coming in. No, close. This costs next to nothing. Why? It's a paper bag puppet. That's right. I'm going to show you how to make a paper bag puppet. All you really need is, take a guess. Who can guess what the very first ingredient is in our paper bag puppet? Anyone? A paper bag. So right now, this is an example of a paper bag puppet. We have the paper bag here, and we have yarn on the top that we glued on, buttons for eyes, a little pom-pom, hi, for the nose, and this is just felt. Now, this dress is a very stylish dress. As you can see, the dress really fits our puppet well. So now what you want to do is the fold in the paper bag is going to be where you're going to put the mouth. So you go, hi, everyone. Let's see. I need a friend, Chris. So we're going to make a friend right in front of your very eyes, and you're going to be along for the ride. So right now we have a blank paper bag. Ooh, it's like a blank canvas. And what we do is we check out where we're going to put our mouth. So we have it right there in the fold. Now we're going to take this, and I already pre-cut 2 eyes. Now for the eyes, all you do is just get pieces of paper. You cut the circles, and you're going to glue this on. Now you can use a glue stick. You can use regular glue if you want. Glue sticks seem to be a little bit easier, and they seem to be a little less messy. So I'm going to stick this glue right on there. So now we're applying the eye to our character. Now what's fun about this is you can use anything you find around the house. Dry pasta actually works. An old remote control. Some cat hair laying around. Anything that you find laying around would work. Now if you see, I glued that on. So now this is the beginning of our eyes. But wait, Chris, those don't look like eyes. So we're going to take a marker. Now you take the marker and we're going to fill in the eye right there. Okay, so we're going to fill in our eyes. Oh, wow. Now look, just by drawing 2 circles, we made eyes. We're making a paper bag puppet right in front of your very eyes. So those are our eyes right there. Now, we need a nose. As you see on this example, we use a pom-pom for a nose. Again, you can use anything. A ball of cotton would work. Construction paper. Now, construction paper really helps a lot. I have different construction paper. I cut out a little circle. So now I'm going to glue this circle right onto our paper bag. A good source of paper bags and construction paper is the dollar store. The dollar store can be your friend when you're doing crafts. Wow, now look at this. Just a mere 2 minutes ago, this was an empty bag. Now it's a character. This is getting better and better. Now, what do we need to add now to our character? How about, I got an idea, a bow tie. So we got red construction paper and we cut out a bow tie. So now we're going to add a bow tie to our paper bag puppet. Now remember, this is your creation. So nothing is going to be wrong on this. Whatever you want is right because this is your creation. So far we have, this is our friend with his eyes, the nose, and a bow tie, as some people like to say. Now, I think our friend needs a hat. Look at this. Just by cutting a triangle and putting little circles on it, we gave him or her a party hat. So I'm going to glue the hat to the top of our paper bag. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing your gluing, you do not want to glue on the folds of the paper bag because that's going to glue your paper bag shut. So now let's see what we have. Look at that. Look, he has his hat. He has the eyes. He has the nose. He has a bow tie. So now we need a little bit more. So when he opens up, we want to add a mouth in there. A very easy fix for that is take your trusty crayon and you can just draw a circle and color it in because that's going to look like the inside of his mouth. It looks like he's going to be talking. So now let's see how this looks. Hi, how's it going? You see, now just by doing that, we created ourselves a little character out of a paper bag. Now, let's show you the example that my wife made again. Now, what she did was she had buttons. Now there's 2 layers of buttons, a pom-pom, and in felt. So she got 2 different colors felt for the dress. And we have the different buttons over here for the dress as well. The hair is made out of yarn. So it's going to go up with the eyebrows made out of cotton balls. So now we have this here, but we need to make this a little bit more stylish. So we're going to give our guy or girl an outfit. So I think we're going to have him wear a belt. So we're going to make a little belt on him. Right there. He has a belt with the designer logo on it because you know that belt's worth a lot of money because it has a designer logo on it. All right. And now we're going to add some other stuff. What's some other things that we can add on to our paper bag puppets? We can also add arms. We can also add feet as well. And we can add legs. So you can really do a lot of different things. So now we just have regular construction paper here. And with our regular construction paper, I am going to draw 2 arms. So for the arms, they really could just be rectangles. So we can draw one rectangle out like this and another rectangle out like this. So this is what I drew. 2 rectangles on the edge of our paper. But Chris, you just drew 2 rectangles. What are you going to do now? We're going to cut out the 2 rectangles and we're going to give our character arms because I think our character needs arms. Again, now you can do whatever you want. If you want to make an octopus, you want to make a cat. I've seen some really cool cats made out of paper bag puppets. You can do a dog. You can do a cat dog. You can do whatever you want. Now, this is important, though. When you go to glue on the arms, you want to open it up and make sure you glue on this side. Because if you glue it together, they're not going to be able to open up their arm. So right now, we place it in like that. And we're just going to get a little bit of a glue stick and put some glue on the inside of the bag. Because what we're going to do is we're going to attach our arm to the inside right there. And it, ready? So I did one side. And now we're going to do another side for the other arm. This is fun, isn't it? We're learning how to make a paper bag puppet out of household supplies. So like I said, you can use buttons, you can use yarn, you can use anything you want. Oh, wow, this is looking great. Look at this. Now our character has arms. Hi, I have arms now. It's just, we have a lot going on right now. And we can also give our character shoes if you want. You can give them fingers. You can give them a neck. Anything you want could be done. There's so much that's going on, and this is your creation. Now, what's great about this is we made 2 paper bag puppets, but each puppet is completely different. As you see, we have this one here made out of yarn and made out of felt, and this one here made out of just construction paper and markers. But the best thing is these are your creations. So have fun with it. Do whatever you want to do. As you see, this whole day of Kids Love Comics programming is designed to get you to create. We're here to inspire you to create. And we hope that you have been creating the whole time. I see that my brother Mark made a puppet. We're going to actually see what his puppet looks like right now. And Mark, there's Mark's puppet right there. Wow, Mark.
Hey. Hello there.
Can you show us exactly? That's made out of construction paper, it looks like, right?
Construction paper, yeah. Yeah, construction paper. Originally, I was going to try and do a whole Macho Man Randy Savage, but I just started having fun with, once I did the sunglasses, I just cut out a quick little nose there and then some cool hair. Yeah, this has been fun. I just wanted to join along at home this time around. So that was really cool.
Yeah, so as you see, we have 3 paper bag puppets. All 3 look completely different. And that's what's amazing about being creative. This one here, my amazing wife did. This one here, we made together. And then Mark made one himself.
Yeah.
And they're all different, but the same. Do you remember those commercials? Oh, and look, Mr. John Gallagher's here, and John Gallagher made one.
Hi, guys!
So now this is what I like, John. I'm happy you did that because you didn't just use a small paper bag. You went there, and you got a big one.
Yeah, this is all we had. So I had to try really hard. It was even in the recycling already. So he's a little wrinkled, but I think it works.
You know what though? That adds to the character. That adds to the whole look at him.
And I think Crinkly Wrinkles is a good name.
Crinkly Wrinkles is good. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you all had fun. We made puppets together. Now remember, this is something you can do at home. John got his bag out of the recycling. And that's what I'm saying. It couldn't be anything. You don't need to have a lot of money to get creative. You don't need a lot of money to make puppets. We just made 4 amazing puppets on a budget of nothing. And that's what we want you guys to do at home. We want you to make puppets at home. We want everyone to make puppets at home. And we just want you to get creative because that's really what it's all about, is to get creative and just know how much fun you're having when you get creative. Now, speaking of creative, we made puppets, we had artists, but now we're going to have another artist. In fact, we're going to have 2 artists right now because my friend and yours, Mr. Jamar, interviewed Mr. Jerry Kraft. Now, this interview is a very good interview because we're going to get to learn the insides and outsides of making a comic book. So just give me 1 second while I get this going. And what's really great about this is that we're going to learn so much on how to create the book itself and what is done in the making of creating a book. So right now we're going to go right to Jamar with his interview with Jerry Kraft. Enjoy, and then when we come back, Jamar is going to be live with some drawing.
Well, hello. Hey, kids, how are you? Jamar Nicholas is here. Oh, what's this? Let me take that off. Welcome back. I'm Jamar Nicholas, cartoonist and creator of the Leon series of books at Scholastic. Thanks for joining us today. I am here reporting for duty with my hour at the Kids Love Comics online pavilion. and I am going to interview my best bud, Jerry Craft. You might have heard of Jerry Craft. He's the author and cartoonist and creator of the Newbery Medal award-winning book New Kid. And his next book, Class Act, just came out. And hopefully we'll talk about that. And I want to ask him a bunch of questions. So let's get to it. Let me bring him in. Hi, Jerry.
Well, hey, Jamar.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome, man. I love the energy. So the good folks at Baltimore Comic-Con gave us some time to air whatever we wanted to, and I picked you, sir.
Wow.
Too. So that hopefully that'll get me some brownie points with you. So I'm very excited.
Absolutely.
So what I thought we'd do today is do a quick 30-minute thing, and I've called it 10 Questions with Jerry.
Okay.
So Jerry, that's you. And
yeah.
What I wanted to frame my questions as are kind of like if I was 10, 11, 12 years old and I got to meet a famous cartoonist like yourself, I would probably not ask the regular questions that you think people ask, like, what kind of pencil do you use? Is a paper important? But I want to ask more questions about how it kind of changes you or how you live your life as a famous author. So my first question to you is, as a kid, Jerry, what was your personality like? Are you the same person you were when you were a kid?
You know, in a lot of ways, I feel I'm exactly the same. I just pay bills. You know, like that's almost the only difference because like when I was 12, I made my own comics. Now at 75 or whatever I am, I make my own comics. I dealt with tough things using my sense of humor. Now I make graphic novels about kids who use their sense of humor to deal with hard issues. Mm-hmm. I probably had more friends back then because I didn't draw for like 17 hours a day. Like I did go out and invite people over to play Atari and shoot hoops and stuff like that. I don't do as much of that anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think for the most part, I'm a lot of that same kid. And that's why I think that I can make a book like New Kid and parents and teachers like, wow, you totally nailed it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of where I am. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So
that's interesting. And just before I get to question two, it's a very special skill that you have that you can connect to young people in such an honest way. Because I'm sure even when you were a kid and when we were kids, you knew some adults that were just kind of corny, right? And like we're trying too hard, but you don't have that problem with kids. Why do you think you connect with kids so well?
For one of the things is that I don't ask dad questions. Like even sometimes my sons would be in school. I remember one day I went to school and I saw one of my sons, he's with like a group of his friends, and I'm like hiding behind the thing trying to get his attention. And one of his friends sees me and runs over. And another friend runs over, and another friend, and they left my son there. And then finally, like, my son was the last to come. But I'm never like, oh, how's school? How's your teachers? Mm-hmm. What's your favorite subject? And you could see the kids just kind of...
the energy drains.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'll be like, hey, Mr. Kraft, you play Call of Duty? I'm like, yeah, you want some of this? And even it's weird. Like I go to schools. I was up in Boston. This kid was like, yo, Mr. Kraft, you want 1v1 me? I was like, what? You want 1v1? You want to go? I'm like, dude, I can't shoot hoops. I'm in a jacket and a tie. He's like, oh, you scared, huh? I'm like, all right. I'm like, I got 35 minutes. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. You had to put it on.
Oh yeah, it was tough. Yeah, he's like. Then they asked him, "Oh, so who won?" And he's like, "Well, see, and I let him off. I was like, "Oh no, he had to go because of." But I'm like, I looked at him like, You know,
See what happened was.
it's like, yeah, good thing you had your backpack because Mr. Kraft just took you to school.
Nice. All right, Jerry, let's go to the next one. This is great. Number 2, what was the moment that you knew you wanted to be an artist? Did you have that light bulb moment? Or
No, I just always, like, when I do school things, you know, I always show like comic books that I made as a kid. And like, I remember when my brother was like in the Marines stationed in Okinawa, we'd go to see movies, like me and my parents, and I'd come back and draw the movie in comic strip form and mail that to him.
Wow.
And then just a bunch of stuff like that. And I wanted to be, you know, the next great artist of Spider-Man. And I could draw superheroes pretty well, but I couldn't draw real people. Like, I couldn't draw Peter Parker and Mary Jane. So if there was ever a character that would just stay in costume his whole life, you know, that would have been better for me.
Yeah.
But I never thought that I was good enough to draw real people. But yeah, I just always wanted to do comic strips. I was a comic strip guy and the comic book guy, and I kind of go back and forth. But it's just always been a part of who I am.
No, great. Number 3, were your parents supportive of your decision to be an artist?
Not to be a professional artist, because they thought that, see, they were old school in the sense where the only phrase that they ever heard that dealt with being an artist was starving artist. And in New York, that meant going to the village and selling paintings on the street of like bulldogs playing cards, you know, like, or just doing landscapes, and that I'd be living in their basement until I was like 50.
Yeah.
You know, but when I won the Newbery and the Coretta Scott King, I was able to move out, you know.
Good for you.
Yeah. So all my stuff is not out, but a lot of it is. But I don't need an allowance anymore. I was like, I'm a grown man, you know, so I've made it. So yeah. I do still have curfew though.
All right, here's number 4. New Kid is an incredible book that won several awards, and you just mentioned 2 of them. How does that make you feel, Jerry Kraft?
You know, it's weird. So I'm gonna do a Star Wars reference because I'm still a big Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
Now, you know how Anakin was the one that brought balance to the Force, even though he became evil?
Yes.
So I feel like in 7th and 8th grade, my teachers would confiscate our comics, and they would say that comic books rot your brain, and that they were not literary at all, and it was just, you know, just trash, basically. And then to grow up to be the first graphic novel to win a Newbery Medal, which kind of legitimizes it in a lot of ways as like real reading, I felt that I've done an Anakin and have brought balance to the graphic novel force, you know, without having turned evil and tried to kill my mentor and all that stuff.
There's still time.
There is still time. I am young enough to do that. Yeah.
Great. Here's a great question. Is there anything you don't like to draw?
You know, I've never liked drawing cars.
Yeah.
You know, hands I'm okay, right? You know, that's fine. I can do all this kind of stuff. Cars, well, I remember hearing your podcast one time, they were talking about cars and horses.
Yeah, everybody hates horses for some reason.
So luckily I don't draw a lot of horses. That just doesn't come up. And cars, I've gotten better. And, you know, now that most things are SUVs are better than the old, like, Electra 225s and, you know, Coupe de Villes and stuff like that. So it's a little better, but it's still not my favorite thing. Especially the body is okay, but the wheels, because they're not actually round. Like they kind of are, but kind of not.
Right.
Yeah, if you draw them looking too round, it looks off
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of like almost like the number 0 shape. They're like
Right.
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 Yeah.
And then a little flat at the bottom. So I found that because one of the things artistically that I think I do very well is I take advantage of my own limitations. And what that means is if I can't do that, then I will change it in a way. So I will take that 0 and tilt it a little bit, you know, and add a little bit of fun to it. So now it looks like it's moving, but it's not me trying to exactly copy that. So I will do stuff in my art that kind of says, okay, maybe I can't do that, but you're not going to know I can't do that because I'm going to do this. And when you look at that, you're going to go, wow, that's highly stylized and it's great. I love the way he does cars. Like,
Yeah. See, I knew.
yeah, like boom, gotcha.
Nice. Very cool. Here's one about self-care, Jerry Crown. 6. Do you ever get tired? What do you like to do when you're not drawing?
I am taking a minute to Google, what is that?
Self-care. Care. C-A-R-E. I can explain it to you if you can't find
Yes, please.
So self-care is supposed to be a thing where you recognize that you are not taking the best care of yourself and you take moments to...
I'm sorry, I'm not off because I didn't get any sleep last night. what were you saying?
You take moments to try to, so they say, smell the roses, Jerry.
So here's what I do.
Yeah.
I juice every morning. So I start off with, you know, getting in something healthy into my body. I have never smoked or drank. Drunk.
Had
I've never
drunk,
drank and I've never been a drunk.
had been drinking.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I still work out, you know, when my youngest son is home, we go and shoot hoops. But the big thing is I laugh a lot, you know? So I think when you laugh like that, like a lot of my cartoonish friends are very well preserved.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that you are 73 years old and you look amazing.
Not a day over 50.
Right. Absolutely. And it's just, I think that's a huge thing when you laugh and you deal with stuff with humor.
Yeah.
Like that to me is medicinal in a sense, you know, like I don't feel like I have slowed down a lot. So when I do have to get out there and, you know, take some kid out on the basketball court, you know, I'm still in good enough shape to do it. But yeah, I do eat regularly. I probably don't sleep as much as I should. Like there were times during, you know, when the quarantine started. First of all, I didn't realize that there was a quarantine until like 3 months in. And I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to go out? Like I wasn't planning to go out anyway.
Right.
But there were times when I would say, okay, let me just finish this one panel. And I'm like, okay. And I'm going up to go to bed and the sun is coming up. And I literally had stayed up the entire night. It's like 6 a.m. But, you know, I would take a nap or 2 during the day. But I could literally work 18 hours in a day, to stop to eat, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And is that something you're doing as a normal thing, or is that when you're on what they call deadlines?
Definitely a deadline, because with New Kid, it took me 13 months to do it. And then it did so well that I think in a lot of ways, my editor might have bamboozled me a little bit. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, it only took 8 months for a New Kid. You could do this one in 7 months. I was, oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute. It didn't take me. It took me 13 months, and I just agreed to do it in like 6 weeks. So I definitely, he definitely Abbott and Costello'd me a little bit,
Uh-huh.
you know, and I somehow did class act in like 8 months, like 5 fewer months.
Wow, Jerry.
You know, my buddy Machindo did some amazing colors in the book. Machindo Kumba, one of our buddies and amazing artist. So he did some real amazing work on there. But yeah, so definitely when I'm in deadline mode, that's like an 18-hour day. Now I'm in about 8-hour days of like story arcing and starting to write book 3 and a lot of answering emails now and doing Zooms and interviews.
Yeah. Just like this one. Well, it sounds like you don't have a lot of time to not be drawing. So is sleep probably what you like to do when you're not awake?
I actually just took a nap like an hour ago. And I have to realize that is a part of what I need to succeed. So I will look through and like, okay, I have lunch with my son from 12 to 1 because he works out of the house now. So we make sure we'll sit down and hang out. So I get my quality family time in.
Yeah.
So, and then it was like, okay, now then I got something at 2 and I got to talk to Jamar at 3. So I will sleep from 1 to 2. You know, so knowing that so I can function.
Yeah.
Because I feel like now I always have to be on, you know, especially like talking to kids, you know, it'd be like, yeah, Mr. Kraft has a headache now. So Bobby, what is it you're saying? What inspired me? Did you just ask that? Listen, Maria, just before you just asked that question, focus, Bobby. Like, you know. you can't be that guy. Like, Mr. Kraft hasn't had this coffee yet.
Mr. Kraft needs 15 minutes. It's in his contract. All right, I almost got you. Let's get to a next question. Number 7. Speaking of your kids, would you want your kids to be artists? Why or why not?
Because they are not living in my basement until they're I would have opened the door, but they on their own, like I didn't push them. And they are both, my oldest son just graduated from business college, and my youngest son is also taking business and marketing.
Wow.
Like they were co-authors when I did this book. Remember this book? The Offenders Saving the World While Serving Detention. I have them listed as co-writers. So it's Jerry Kraft with Jalen and Aaron Kraft. And, you know, I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I even put their pictures in the back of the book. They were in school at the time. They're doing
those little faces. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and they would go. This was one of the first books when Jeff Kinney opened up An Unlikely Story in Massachusetts. We were some of the first authors to ever go and do a signing.
Wow.
At his store. And me, Jay, and Aaron, we went up and they autographed the books and stuff. So that was really cool. But if they did it on their own, like I think that they both draw well. They just never were like passionate about it like me.
Yeah.
Like if we ever went to one of those restaurants, you know, and they give you the crayons because you got do you want crayons? You'd be like, no, thank you. I'm like, yes, please. You know, and they'd be, you know, talking. I'd be like, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I definitely let them pick their own, their own way.
Okay. All right, number 8. We're almost out of here, Jerry Kraft. You've done really well.
I studied.
I'm proud of you. Number 8. If you weren't an artist, what would you be doing right now, Jerry?
So, you know, like Jordan Banks, I wanted to go to art school. My parents did not let me. So they sent me to Fieldston in Riverdale, much like Jordan Banks. And then when I went to college, I ended up taking advertising. So my first few jobs out of college was as an advertising copywriter.
Wow.
So I would write print ads, I would write radio commercials, I wrote a few TV spots. I did the voiceover for a radio commercial for English leather cologne. I know you still got a closet full.
Man, I got a subscription.
See? So yeah, I think that kind of Don Draper Mad Men, minus of course the way it's treated and the whole massage, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual creativity part, but I guess a writer, copywriter. That's where I thought I was going. If I wasn't creating something, an artist or a writer, I think I would be in trouble.
Yeah.
I could not be an accountant that sat and did numbers, not bashing accountants. Even like technical art, like architecture, was not my thing.
Okay.
I love this because like it's the same thing, but it's different.
Yeah.
So it's drawing, but like it's so different doing the offenders as doing like when I'm doing Mama's Boys, and then doing class act or new kid. So it's in drawing, but it's very different every time, and I love that kind of like fresh start each time.
It's like you keep yourself interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is like 2/3 of the the incentive.
There's one thing to just go along with what you're saying is that, and it might scare some people to hear about how hard your job is, Jerry Craft. Because when you just said I work 18 hours a day, I'm sure somebody was like, "What?
I'm out."
Yeah, no thanks.
They put the cap on their pen. They're like,
"That's right."
Mom, remember I said no? Wait, law school? Yeah, okay, sign me up.
Right. So I mean, there's always a thing where you probably run into parents once in a while who go, "Oh, my kid sits on the floor in the living room and draws all day long," but probably they don't think about the compulsion that comes with being an artist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because I remember meeting Ray Billingsley, who does the Curtis comic strip for King Features.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, so when you work on your comic strip, is it the same amount of time that like if you had a full-time job? It's like, oh no. I was like, oh, phew. It's like, I wish I only worked 40 hours a week. And I was like, wait, what?
Right.
Come again? You work more than 40 hours a week? And that was 6 dailies and a Sunday.
Yeah.
And new kid, when you look at it, well, let's take class act because it's easier to reach. I mean, when you look at having like 6 panels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I can do this way. So 1, 2, about 5, 6 panels on each page.
Yeah.
And then there's like 250 pages. So 5 times, 250.
There's a lot.
That's like 1,000, over 1,000 individual drawings, and then putting in the word balloons and doing some of the color and writing it and rewriting it and stuff like that. So it really is a lot of work, but I absolutely love doing it. So I don't get tired. You and I have talked while I'm drawing, you know, and I'm like, if I'm writing, I need quiet, but if I'm drawing, I got my Wacom tablet here, my Intuos Pro that I did both the books on, and I got it going on, and I'm just like I could be drawing now, talking, I don't want to be like not looking at the screen, but if we were talking on the phone, I'd be working the whole time.
No, and it's it's great. It's a passion that we talked about before we started recording. It's a career, right? I wouldn't call being a cartoonist a job.
No, absolutely not.
I think it's a career or a lifestyle.
Yeah. yeah, both of those.
So, all right, let's start to wrap this up. Let's go to number 9 and talking about parents a little bit, Jerry. What would you tell a parent who didn't want their kid to become an artist?
So, I remember being on the panel at the Schaumburg Black Comic Book Festival, and a mom stood up and said, "My son is always drawing. reading comics, drawing, blah, 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 blah. And I'm always trying to tell him to stop, and he needs to read a real book, and he needs to do this, and he needs to do that. And now that I see you up there on stage, you might have even been up on the panel with me. Now that I see you and what you create and what you do for kids, when I go home, I'm going to apologize to him and ask him what he needs for me to encourage him. So that was, it was weird that she hadn't brought him in the first place.
Where was the kid?
I thought that was a little strange. Right.
Right.
But the fact that at least the kid will get an apology, and she won't hide his Crayolas anymore, I think is at least something. But the other thing is, like, winning the Newbery is obviously amazing for me personally. So the Newbery has been around for almost 100 years.
Oh, can we see it?
What do you think? I just carry this thing around with me?
Let's see it, Jerry Craig.
All right.
Go drop it.
All right.
So heavy.
That's the actual.
What? That's
Yeah,
amazing. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is the actual medal that so when you see the book itself, so this is the
over.
There you go. So that's the Newbery, and the bottom one is the Coretta Scott King Author Award.
Wow.
Right. So I had a bookseller tweet at me that she was in the store and the kid came in with his dad, and the kid was like, "Hey Dad, can I get a graphic novel?" He's like, "Nah, why don't you get a real book?" And the bookseller said, "Excuse me, sir, but did you know that a graphic novel just won the Newbery Medal for the most outstanding contribution to American literature for children?" And he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, in that case, get whatever you want." He was like, "Yes," that kind of thing. And that knowing that I helped some parent give his kid a break, because well, here's a question for you. Were you a reader as a kid?
Did I what?
Were you a reader?
Yeah, I love reading. Yeah.
I did not. I hated reading.
I love reading. Yeah, I was a young reader. Like I had reports that I would read my grandmother the newspaper at 3.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and now look at me. But
Well,
go ahead.
Like, I read Marvel comics, but even then, like, if I was reading Spider-Man, I didn't want to read the whole Spider-Man talking to, like, Peter Parker, having gelato with Mary Jane or talking to Aunt May. I'm like, can you get to the part where Dr. Octopus comes in? Right? So
I did the other stuff, right?
Yeah, I wasn't enjoying that. And I think especially with books, a lot of books, especially when we were kids, like, we didn't have Kwame Alexander, Jason Reynolds, Eric Velasquez. We didn't have Leon, Protector of the Playground, or Jordan Banks in New Kid. So a lot of it was like, like slavery books, like kids that look like us were like runaway slaves or running from, the civil rights movement or running from gangs or running from the police. And, I didn't want to hear that. I grew up in a brownstone in Washington Heights and, had friends, and we pretended to be Spider-Man and went to see Star Wars and, rode bikes and skateboards. So I didn't have that traumatic life where misery was just like all I knew.
Yeah.
Like misery to me was when they canceled Mighty Orbots.
I love Mighty Orbots.
Right? See,
yeah.
I still haven't gotten over that.
You can borrow my tape.
Oh, thank you. Like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
you know. So I always wanted to do books like that. That is just kids playing Xbox and eating pizza and stuff like that, without all that other stuff. And don't get me wrong, those are important stories.
Yeah.
But I wanted to add to their narrative by just having a, so like with, and I have to say it this way, with white characters, a lot of people say mainstream, but white characters. You have a Greg Heffley, you have a Captain Underpants, you have a Harry Potter, you have a, and then when you do, black characters, you have a, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, a character that has made it to that level of a Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, it's been Fat Albert, but Fat Albert was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right. And when would you ever see a white kid with a black character on a T-shirt or on a lunchbox or on a hat?
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't happen. So my goal was always, how do you make these iconic characters, African American characters, that are just accepted by humanity?
Yeah.
Not like, oh, that's, I don't want my kid reading that because they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that has always been my my goal. And what people don't know, because they think that I came out of nowhere with New Kid, like over like 20 years, I did like 3,000 books.
Look at that. Look at
So that was like there you go.
There you
A long time ago. Again, a mom with her 2 teenage sons, uncle and grandfather, and they run a family bookstore.
Yeah.
And I know that's what you want to do with Leon, is you just want to have regular kids and with some humor and some silly stuff and some corny jokes and some funny jokes, and like, our kids deserve that. All kids deserve to see us in that light.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely very happy with your Scholastic deal. So I hope everything I get, you get.
Thank you. So, and you can just bring that Newberry over and leave it, and I'll put it next to mine. Or do you have to trade it in at the end of the
year? At the end of the year, it's like the Miss America stash, and like, I have to give it to.
Yeah.
No.
All right, last question, Jerry. Then we'll let you go home.
Okay.
All right, number 10, and this is it.
But that's okay.
Are art supplies important?
Not really. I mean, when and I just happen to have this here as well.
What's that?
When I did class act, I still did the whole thing in like one of those binders, that you get for kids, back to school binder.
Yeah.
And just like a marker, so all this, I got my what do you call these things? The
dividers.
Yeah, the dividers. So this is like, a Walmart special.
Yeah.
But it actually helped me to plan it out and to kind of see a lot of stuff. And so, you don't have to be 11 years old with an iPad.
Right.
You don't have to, like, I draw this in, and I showed you my Wacom tablet, and I use Photoshop. A lot of my friends use Clip Studio Pro. I have that. I haven't learned it yet because I didn't want to start something new yet. But, I, for years, used this like a non-photo blue pencil, and paper. And I would have that. And then after that, or I had a Pentel mechanical pencil.
Yeah.
0.5 lead. I had the blue lead in it, and then I would go over it. Sometimes I would have the old-fashioned dip pen with India ink. Sometimes I would use rapidograph. Sometimes I would use a fountain pen. I was never good enough to use a brush. My buddy Jim Keefe just makes me sick because he would take everything with a brush. I'm like, oh, stop showing off, Jim Keefe. So the art supplies aren't as important to me as the passion and the commitment and the fun. Because if you're not having fun doing this, you're missing half the. Because when the deadlines start, if you're not having fun, I think it gets overwhelming. But I know when I sit down and I have like my green tea and I got my cashews and I got a bag of dates and I'm like, all right,
Let's go.
I'm ready, right? And let's go. Right. I almost never sit down like,
Yeah.
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 Well, Jerry Craft, it was very exciting and energizing talking to you this afternoon. Thank you so much. You have done such amazing things for kids all over the world and also the culture. So I salute you. You want to talk about class act on your way out the door?
Why, I would love to. So,
Okay.
whereas New Kid was about Jordan Banks starting 7th grade at Riverdale Academy Day School, a prestigious private school. Class Act, the companion book, is more about his best friend Drew, who is in the 8th grade year. So New Kid was the first year of 7th grade. Class Act goes from September through April of 8th grade. So you get to see Drew, and you'll get to see all the characters that you really love in that. And then you'll get to see just a lot of like some new characters, a lot of the characters that you love. And there are a lot of people that say as much as they love New Kid that they like Class Act even better.
Wow.
And that is music to my ears.
Well, I have my copy already. And once I'm finished reading it, I'm going to tell you all about it.
Okay. Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
Well, thank you so much, Jerry Craft. And thank you to all of my buddies at Kids Love Comics and to the Baltimore Comic-Con online for having us. Have a great one. More stuff to come. See you around.
Thank you.
Bye.
We have Jamar with us. Jamar,
Yes,
interview was great. Jerry had so much. I love the questions that you asked, especially that one story about how the lady stood up and when he was on the panel and said that I wasn't encouraging my child to do art, but now since I heard your story, what can I do?
Yeah.
It's sad, but isn't it something that we see at a lot of conventions?
Yeah. It's more commonplace than I think a lot of people think, and especially on your side, Chris, because you interact with a lot of people, just bringing people into the pavilion spaces and interacting with a lot of parents and a lot of I like to call them tire kickers, but they're just people who almost feel like they're walking into a trap coming over to our area. Like, what is this? This is free programming for kids. Sit, have a seat. Here's a pencil. Well, do you need my credit card? No, we don't need anything from you.
And they don't understand it. They get so. And then one rule that I always have is if you're sitting next to your kid in a workshop area, guess what? You're drawing too. Because a lot of, oh no, that's just for the kids. Art is not just for the kids.
Right.
The books that you're buying for your kids aren't drawn by kids. So that's why we want everyone to do art. And now you're going to give us a little art lesson, right? A little workshop right now?
That is correct. We're about to take, I hope did you bring your scuba gear, Chris? Did you bring your waders? Did you bring Did you bring your flippers?
I have the wetsuit underneath the business jacket.
Business.
I have my swimming trunks. I have my swimmies. Business. We're ready to get down to business, and we're ready to jump into an aquarium?
The Imagination Aquarium. With Jamar. That's me. Where we're going
yes.
We're going to go fishing for ideas, fun, and creativity. So hang out with us a little bit longer. Thanks, Chris. So what I'd
Now,
like to do,
should we add our other fellow artists in?
yeah, bring everybody in, bring the crew in while I get set up.
Hey guys,
Hey, hello.
Everyone's in.
with Jerry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, wasn't that a great interview? Jerry was a sweetheart to let me tag along and ask him lots of questions. So it was really cool. So thanks, guys. First, before we get started, I want to say thank you to the gang, to Chris and Mark and John. You guys did a magnificent job this weekend.
You too.
I've already heard a lot of compliments from people inside the organization, and also some fans who are watching on different platforms saying that they had a great time at the Kids Love Comics online pavilion. So yeah, hats off to you guys.
Cool. Well, have fun drawing.
Thank you, sir. It was fun. We all had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, thanks. Hey, where'd John go? Tell him to come back.
He went to go somewhere. Gotta get something, I think.
He was like, thanks, bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to be transformed into a land of imagination. This is what I like to call drawing with Jamar. The Imagination Aquarium, you guys, is a place where I like to invite kids and parents and guardians along to unlock their creativity. If any of you have ever had a kid come up to you and say, I'm bored, get out of here with that. After this workshop, you'll never be bored again. That's right. That's my guarantee. So
Right.
how do we do right?
That's right.
That's a tall order, isn't it?
Bold
And how do
statement.
very bold. So what I propose we're going to do today, and how we can get started with this, is we're going to do some drawing, and I'm going to show you how to take things that you already know in your brain, put them together to create new characters, and you'll never be bored again. So first, I'm going to ask my guest artists to hang out with me and maybe draw.
You got it.
And if anybody who's watching along with us streaming live, I hope you have some pencil and paper ready, and I hope I can interact with you. So if you're watching live on YouTube or you're watching live on Facebook, go into the chat or the comments, and I'm going to ask you guys some questions. And if you want to throw something out, just type it in, and Chris will put it on the screen. All right. So first, we're going to do a warm up, and I call that's it. Oh, look, I already got people coming in. So what I call an art warm-up is when we, just like you stretch before you go for a run around the school, or you have to stretch when you get out of bed because you're all stiff and you gotta get your muscles limber. We need to do the same thing before we draw. All right. So the first part of our exercise is I'm going to take my trusty digital pen here, and I'm going to just start making some circles. Wow, that's a crazy circle. So everybody on your screen or on your paper, I hope your circles are better than mine. This is kind of kirking out over here. Make some circles. Okay. You can fill your page with circles. Get as many circles going as you want. And when you're done with your circles, pencils down. Nice. So,
Is it okay if my circles aren't perfect, Jamar?
Yes, John, it is totally fine if they're not. Actually, I prefer it if they're not. So don't always worry about being perfect or having a perfect thing. You don't have to get a mayonnaise jar and trace anything. Just, do it with your free hand. Just freehand it. So what we're going to do now that we've filled our page full of circles is, if you've ever done this with me in person, this is my first trick. I tricked you. Mm-hmm. I want you to take every one of these circles and draw a face in them. I know. Yeah, John, it's a lot, right? So we're going to, and I'll do these too. So please draw along with us. And what we're doing here for all the parents who are supervising their kiddos is we are learning about improvising and also taking what we have and making something else out of it. So rather than drawing a million smiley faces, because that's easy, see if you can challenge yourself and make different types of faces out of the circles you drew. So you might have big circles, you might have little tiny circles.
Do they all have to be human, Jamar?
No, they could be aliens.
Nice.
They could be animals. They could
Jack-o'-lanterns.
be
Ooh, I'm gonna do a jack-o'-lantern.
Yes, jack-o'-lantern. They could be whatever you'd like. Okay. And you can even do what we call profile faces. So a profile means when you look at something from the side. And if any of you guys are online, it might ask you to upload your profile pic. And profile is supposed to be a side view of a face. So this is always one of my favorite things. And while we're doing this, what we're basically doing is we're getting our brain ready to know that we're going to do a really good drawing session. So we warm up by making different little faces and get our mind thinking about drawing cartoons. Hey, any of my fellow cartoonists like John and Mark, or even our buddy Chris, do you guys do warm-ups when you draw or do music?
I never do. Tell you the truth.
I don't. I wish I would do more. I don't know. A lot of times I'll just get right into what I want to draw, but you know, I wish I kept more of a sketchbook kind of thing, because I think it'll make me a better artist if I really did just fool around more on the page. But a lot of times when I sit down, I have in mind what I want to draw, and I just go for it. But I always want to, you know, like I don't really keep a sketchbook of just ideas and stuff. I think I really should.
Before playing music, I definitely have to warm up. You definitely have to stretch before that. So
here's one of my hacks. So if you ever feel like you're drawing the same stuff all over and over again, think about if your characters have eyebrows, right? Eyebrows are a really good descriptor of emotion. You can do a lot of heavy lifting with eyebrows on a character. So if you're like, eyebrows, I forgot I have those. Well, most people do have eyebrows. So, you know, think about when you're angry and your eyebrows point down, or if you're surprised and they may go up like arches. Or if you want to do The Rock and you put one eyebrow up, all of those help a mood of your character and help them be a little bit more descriptive. All right. So if you saw a guy with his eyebrows tipped down, you really get the idea that he's angry. Maybe he's angry because of this horrible haircut I'm giving him. I'd be upset too. So yeah, think about eyebrows. Now, another great cartoonist trick we use is when you may put a mirror in front of your art table or at the kitchen table. You can use a mirror, or you can use your cell phone. So instead of taking selfies, you look at your face and make funny faces and see how your face and the muscles in your face react.
Jamar, we had J. Robert Deans chime in, and he said, I noodle more in the penciling stage. Mm-hmm. And things change there most often. So that's probably my warm-up stage.
Oh, wow. That's a great tip. And I think all of that is valid. So, you know, however you get loose just makes your work better. So what I'm doing here doesn't mean you have to do exactly the same thing, but you find a method that works for you. Some people who say things like, oh, man, I can't draw feet. Well, get a sketchbook and fill it full of feet. That'll be your feet sketchbook. Oh, I have a problem drawing hands. Well, you draw a lot of hands. That's how we get through problems as cartoonists. You have to tackle it. So rather than just saying, I don't know how to, or I can't, you spend time on learning how to. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Hey, Chris, yeah, it'll be great to see what everybody's doing. Can we see what everybody's drawing?
Sure. So right now we have John. Now, John's been. It looks like that character John's drawing now almost looks familiar. Who could that be?
I love it.
Wesley Snipes.
There you go. And now we're going to check in on Mark. Mark has a jack-o'-lantern right over there. Looks very good. I like the eye popping out over there as well.
And his hair went up. Right.
Love it.
It looks like J. Robert Dean spotted someone. Hey, Max Meow.
I like it. Good job, you guys. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to move right along because I'm looking at the clock. I don't want us to go over too much. So what I want to do is, if you guys want to finish up your faces, we're going to go to a nice clean page here. All right. So if you want to flip your, oh, that's not it. If you want to flip your page over or get a fresh sheet or however you want to do that. So we're going to do some writing real quick. You can follow along at home, or you can just watch what I'm doing. All right. So I'm just going to draw basically a big T. You can put a line down the middle of your paper or off to the side, just so you have enough room to write. Okay. You guys following along? Okay. All right. So on the first side of this T, I'm going to write the word job, J-O-B. And then on the other side of the T, I'm going to write thing, T-H-I-N-G. Okay. So this was the part, Chris, where I was hoping we could get some people who are watching us live to throw out some names of stuff. And if we don't get any reactions, then that's what I'll ask the Kids Love Comics guys to do for me to help us along.
All right, so everybody watching, you're watching on our feed. You're going to see that there's a chat room going on. Please, we need your help. All of us here need your help. We need a job, and we also need a thing. So we need a job and a thing, and we need you to help us with this. So add some of the comments down in there, and we're going to add it onto this board, and then we're going to see what Jamar has in mind for us.
Word. All right. So if you're stumped, I'll start with the first one. So
we have a good one from Greg Schiegel. It says job, book stacker.
Nice. All right, I'm going to write that. It's funny that my little stylus thing is being weird, but I know what that means. Okay. Sure. All right. What's
and then a thing, a paintbrush.
Nice. Cool.
We have another thing, an elephant.
That's a big thing.
That's a big thing right there. Folks, if you're just tuning in, we need your help in the chat room. List either a thing or a job. A thing or a job in the chat room, and you're going to be helping us create art right now. You're in the Imagination Aquarium with your host, Jamar. So a thing and a job, we need a couple more comments. Comment right below in the chat room, right down there. And you can be a part of the fun. Short order cook.
That's a good one. Who asked for that one?
J. Robert Deans.
Nice. All right, we'll do one more row and then we'll get started. So give me anybody got anything else?
The thing for a thing.
I love it. All right. So the thing is a thing? Yeah, the thing.
The thing as a thing.
The thing.
Isn't that also a job?
I think
like part of
that could be.
I think his job is clobbering.
Clobbering time.
All right,
Time to punch the clock.
give me one more job, and then we'll get out of here and get started.
All right, folks, so we need one more job. Oh, zoo. Here we go. Miss Joan Mariano says a zoo worker.
Ooh, I like it. All
Hi,
right.
Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Oh wait, that's not my mom.
Hey, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Everybody's mom is
That's
everybody's
right.
mom.
That's it.
All right, cool. All right, so, and anybody watching along with us, you can make up your own list of jobs and things, and you can write them along on your sheet of paper. And I encourage you to even just keep a sketchbook full of these things, because once you write them down, they'll exist forever. So if you ever get stuck, you can always go back to your list. So can anybody guess what I'm going to do next?
You're
You're going to put out your resume.
to all these things.
Oh, wait a minute. Somebody said, Chris, you see that Rocky?
Yeah, so we have Rocky Natoli says a caretaker.
All
Right.
right.
That's a good job. Thanks, Rocky.
That's a good job. Thanks, Rock.
And it's okay. I think all right, awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do next, you guys, is I am going to start mashing up these jobs and create a whole new character. So what would a short order cook elephant look like? What about the Thing, but the Thing was a book stacker?
Oh, wow.
He worked in the back of a New York Public Library stacking books.
I like that.
Or how about
A zoo worker paintbrush.
I like that. Oh, or even a caretaker elephant.
A caretaker elephant. So, Jamar, should we have one artist do one and then see what they all look like?
Yeah. So how about Mark and John? You want to try and take a stab at one of these mashups?
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
ahead,
All right. I think I might go with the short order cook elephant.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do the paintbrush zoo worker.
Nice.
Okay. I love it. So yeah, let's get started while I fumble with this application here. And while you guys are working on that, I'm going to maybe take a stab at one of these, or I always have this fallback one that I do. And Chris, are we good on time? I know we're kind of
It's fine.
We're at
The whole day.
we're the whole day. You're never leaving.
We're good. Whatever you need to do.
I think one of my favorites, because we've been doing this workshop for a long time, one of my favorite mashups is Spy Lobster.
That's really good.
Spy Lobster is one of my favorites. And then there was, I think it was Nacho, Dorito Detective. I think that was another.
Didn't you do one about it was like a toaster? It was like a toaster cop or something.
Toaster cop.
I think it was like toaster cop.
I'm laughing.
Not to be confused with Hobo Cop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Old fans of the comic book diner remember Hobo Cop.
That's good. That's good. I do this too when I do school visits, and one of my favorites that always stuck with me was a grilled cheese janitor. And the kid really knocked it out of the park because he had a mop and he was wiping up his own cheese. So it was great.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
So it looks like we have some new viewers just hopped on. So right now we are drawing, we're creating characters that are mashups. We took some titles, some job titles, and some things from our viewing audience, and we're mashing it together. And you can do this at home as well. Right here, we have our list of jobs, and we have our list of things. Now, we have a bunch of different things here, and our artists are drawing them as we speak. Now, you can do this at home with your family. This would be a lot of fun to do at home with your family, where you can have certain family members come up with jobs, certain family members come up with items, and you all take turns drawing. That's what makes this a really fun workshop that Jamar created for us. It's something that could be done at home, right, Jamar?
That's totally correct. This is so fun if you have a whiteboard that you guys use in the house, or maybe just a pad and a couple of pens or crayons. You could sit around the dining room table and do this and have a lot of fun. And the best part about it, you guys, is I think that you can really make yourself laugh.
Yeah. I mean, it's just funny. Like, I can't wait to see what a zoo worker paintbrush looks like. We have a comment in here. Don't forget the hot wings, since you usually celebrate a nice dinner together, which is true. We got to have some wings. Thanks, Matt. Good to see you watching. So we're gonna peek in a little bit closer on what our artists are doing. John Gallagher here is trying a paintbrush zoo worker, this is coming out amazing.
Wow.
John, it looks great. Look at that.
That dolphin is amazing.
Yeah, that dolphin is amazing. Jamar, what are you drawing for us?
I think I'm drawing alien fisherman. That's my callback.
That's your callback, an alien fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Mark, what do you have going?
Got the elephant fry cook, elephant short order cook. Adding a basket of wings over here.
Oh, that's great.
So while we're kind of wrapping up our things, I want to give some pointers to the parents and or guardians out there. So some things that'll really help you with your young art student. Please encourage their want to draw. You can do that with it's always cool to give them art supplies and paper. And I know a lot of my buddies grew up having that support from their parents. You know, just coming home with a ream of paper and some markers is just like the best thing in the world when you're a kid and you like to draw. But, you know, beyond that, if your kid shows you things, rather than doing what I like to call the refrigerator mom, that's nice dear effect. Oh, that's great. I don't know what it is, but we'll put it on the refrigerator. You're so talented. Ask them questions. Oh, this is a great ice princess, but why don't you show me where the ice princess lives? How do you draw a castle? Or, you know, is there a royal guard that the ice princess is in charge of? So you're challenging the child to even go deeper into their own stories and to help them create. All right. So everybody has a role in the development of a young artist.
Another thing that's really fun is when you get artwork from a child, put the year on the back of it. Mm-hmm. And then, because when you dig this artwork up, it's so amazing to see, wow, I did this so many years ago. Because a long time ago, Mark did a comic called Frog the City Samurai. And he gave this out as Christmas gifts to us for Christmas one year. And my mom kept them all. Wow. And then 20 years later, he found the comic. We scanned it, and it's in the back of Flabbergast.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's really great to see the year on the back of it, and then just to see like how your artwork evolves. Because like we were saying before, you know, the more you draw, the better you're going to get. Yeah,
that's so great. And you know, I think everybody wins when you find something that you love. When I was a kid, I was really lucky that my mother was an artist and she understood how important positive reinforcement was. But I also know a lot of people who are really cautious about their kids getting into art, right? Well, I don't know if they can make money, or I don't want them to be sad professionally, you know, but everything takes time and everything takes effort. And, you know, just if you keep at it, you could be the next founder of Kids Love Comics. You could have my job.
Oh, you know, one thing adding on to what you were all saying is, yeah, I'm often asked by parents, especially with their kids in tow, saying, did you ever get so frustrated that you wanted to throw away your drawing?
Yeah.
And I said, I still do. I mean, that's how you feel. sometimes. But I will say that even the drawings that don't work out, sometimes you'll get some wonderful surprise out of it that you didn't know that you might get. And
here's a question for all you guys. Did you ever go through old artwork and see a character in there and say, wow, I need to use this character in something, and then end up using it in something current?
Yeah, you know what, Chris? You know where that happened? This guy right here.
Really?
Yeah, I created Leon maybe 20 years ago as this character, and it was a cool idea, but it wasn't there yet, and I put it in a file cabinet. And then
what made you decide it's time to bring him out of the file cabinet?
I think I had more stories to tell. I think there was a point where I was trying to do something that wasn't this, and my focus was in a different place. But then when I grew up a little more and had more of a mind to look back on my childhood and go, what were the cool things about being a kid? Or, what were the things as a 11-year-old that I really wanted out of the world? And I figured I wanted to ask those questions through this guy. So that's where that all started.
And now that guy is going to be published by Scholastic.
What? Thank you.
That's amazing. So when does the first book hit the stores?
Leon Extraordinary will be out. I know it sounds like a million years away, but in 2022. So
now, calendar-wise, that seems like a far away. But art-wise and production-wise, that really feels like it's right around the corner, right?
Yeah, it's super close. But so I'll be done with the book at the beginning of this year, and it takes a long time for these things to cook. But I'll be around during that time, and I'll be showing art and teaching kids how to draw. I won't go away. I'm here for you.
There you. So let's peek into what our artists did for their mashups that Jamar came up with for them. So John, what did you do for us again?
Well, I had the paintbrush zookeeper, and somehow as I was drawing, I thought, what if his hand was bitten off? And I was going to do a shark, but it just started to turn into a dolphin. So
that dolphin looks way too cute. That dolphin looks way too cute and way too happy to have bit off his hand.
I love the seagull.
And then I made the sweat drops were paint. If I was going to color this, that would be paint coming off his head.
That's
and there's a giant bird who's sort of waiting for a fish to fall out of the bucket.
That's great. And then what I love is these are two examples that people in our viewing audience gave us. And so that's what's amazing. Mark, what did you do for us?
Well, we got our happy elephant chef here. Or what was it? Short order cook.
Short order cook.
Right. So he's making things happen real quick. And he's, flipping burgers, got his basket full of wings ready to go, and it's order up. Time to pick up the order.
Hey, Mark, can you explain to people what a short order cook is versus a chef or something another type of cooking job?
I guess they're the ones that in like some of the diners, they're the ones that we'd be putting together the orders really quickly in a short time. And so it's got to be done really quick, really fast, and with a huge smile.
Oh, with a smile. Service with a smile.
Always with a smile. Jamar, should we peek in on what you drew for us?
Oh, mine is the worst. It kind of looks like me.
Is that Captain Queeg? Wait, Captain from Jaws?
Oh, I forgot about him. He needs a bigger boat. But really what's happening here, you guys, is that we are finding ways to unboard ourselves. There really shouldn't be any time where you are stuck for ideas when you can take a bunch of things and mash them together and come up with really cool characters. Like the stuff that our friends just came up with, or even what you have in front of you right now. You don't have to ball it up and throw it in the trash. What we did today, you may have just created the next million book seller idea.
Yeah. Well, like Jeff Smith created Bone. That was something he did in second grade. And who is it? Eric Larson created a really popular book called Savage Dragon. And again, that was something he did as a kid. I actually have an image that someone just sent me. This is our good buddy, Reese Nathan. I'm not sure if you can really
very
going on there.
That's all.
That is from yesterday. That is a vampire chicken picking his nose, riding a skateboard, and playing tennis.
That's amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, he and his sister Natalie were really busy doing drawings the whole day during Kids Love Comics.
I think we named the nose picking vampire Nosferatu.
Right.
That's right.
That's we did so many arts and crafts. We did so much art. We had so many lessons during the last 2 days. This has been a great virtual con weekend. I really hope everyone viewing at home enjoyed it as much as we did. Of course, we all wish we were in person together in Baltimore, but if we couldn't do it there, we did it here. And I think we really, really had a great time. Most importantly, though, we all hope we inspired you at home to get out there to imagine, create, and inspire. It's really hard not to be inspired by these amazing artists that I'm surrounded by right now. It's been amazing that I got to be a part of this amazing crew, and I hope you enjoyed it. Jamar, this was a great workshop. We really thank you for doing all this.
Thanks, brother. And thanks so much to the people I interviewed, Kazu Kibuishi and Jerry Kraft, both amazing pillars of the young book community. They're great authors and inspirational.
Thank you so much, John. Thanks again. I mean, Max Meow, give us a little detail on Max Meow. What's going on?
That's right. We all have to wait for Leon, so I guess you can all check out Max Meow. Max Meow Cat Crusader just came out in October, and from Random House. And the second book, Max Meow Donuts in Danger, will be out in April. And I just want to say thanks to the Baltimore Comic-Con, the mainframe guys that have been running the behind the scenes, helping us. And also thanks to the real heroes out there right now, all the teachers and educators that are helping train our kids how to be better people virtually. And that's no easy task, as we saw this weekend. It's been amazing. Mark, do you have anything you want to fill us in on what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Just echoing John's sentiments, it's been fun time, and it's been tough for us to do this just for 2 days. So just imagine what those teachers are going through on a daily basis, and their schedules constantly changing. So yeah, definitely love to all the teachers out there. And as for me, yep, you can find my work at marianobros.com. We have Far Out Firehouse is a new book that came out with that I worked on with my 5-year-old son and my wife. And then I also have a webtoon on Webtoons called Mundane, about the most boring things that you can think of. And, it's pretty fun just to see that happen. But thanks again, like everyone else said, to Baltimore Comic-Con and the Mainframe guys. It's been a real fun ride.
All right. I mean, I guess that's it. Is there anything else we need to adjust?
I don't know. Should you end with the pumpkin song again?
Yeah, take us out with the pumpkin song.
Should we go to the pumpkin song and a little pumpkin dance party?
We can put up the logo and
bring pumpkin.
Okay, just give me a second to cue this up so you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I did not carve my jack-o'-lantern yet. Either of you guys do it yet?
No, not yet.
No, there are two. My two sons have each carved one, and my daughter will probably do one tonight. But there's one left for me to. And I did get this great image from a kid. He sent me a Max Meow jack-o'-lantern that he designed.
Cool.
And I didn't have permission to show it because I didn't want to show off anybody. But hopefully I'll be able to show that on the Kids Love Comics Facebook page real soon.
Nice.
And if anybody wants to go to our new YouTube page, Kids Love Comics at YouTube, if you can sign up, we'll be sharing lots of videos from now through eternity, and hopefully with more of the interviews we've had here, interviews and how-tos and fun activities on the Kids Love Comics page at YouTube.
Yeah, and comment. Let us know what kind of videos you want to see. If you want to see more videos that you've seen this weekend, more craft ideas, anything that you really liked, let us know. And, this way we can build an even better channel for you.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. I think we did a fantastic job all around. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks for all the artists and authors that took time out of their schedules to hang out with us this weekend. And thank you to you at home. Be creative and never stop drawing.
And like we said, Imagine, create, and inspire. And enjoy this as we say goodbye with our good pal, and your pal too, Punky the Pumpkin.
Punky Pumpkin, the happy pumpkin, happy all the day. More will scare your cares away. Punky Pumpkin, the happy pumpkin, never wears a frown. You can see that he's cut out to be a clown. The candlelight inside him makes his eyes light up and gleam. They shine right through the window at you for a happy Halloween. Punky Pumpkin's a happy pumpkin, and do you know why?
Why?
He's a jack-o'-lantern instead of being a pumpkin pie. Yes, he's a jack-o'-lantern instead of being a pumpkin pie. Punky Pumpkin, the smiling pumpkin, grinning happily. You can count his teeth 'cause he has only 3. Punky Pumpkin, the winking pumpkin, blinks his eye at you.
That's where it cut off last time.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We hope you all had a great time, and we'll see you next year at the Baltimore Comic Con.